it running or no?
I reset Streamlabs. We have to turn it up. Is that us?
Yeah.
You don't have to turn.
Are we hot?
I don't.
Doesn't appear that way.
It kind of takes a second for it to kick in. I mean, it says that says we're live.
Weird things.
That Vapor Shop that's right there on O'Connor, they're having a big Mortal Kombat 11 tournament in August,
We're live now.
and I was gonna go kick it at that if y'all wanna come.
We have to get Mortal Kombat.
When is that? August?
August 24th.
I'd be down to go on
But
and
it's
watch.
it's like combo breaker rules and everything. It's full tournament style, $5 entry, prizes, raffles,
I
everything.
mean, I probably can't do all that, but I'd like to go and watch that shit.
I'm going to go and watch and hang out, and I was going to see about maybe taking a camera and creating some content for the channel where we just go and talk to the people who are playing and bullshit with them.
Do you want me to get the summary because we are live?
Do what?
Do you want me to get the summary because we are live?
Oh, geez.
After some technical difficulties, we are live and ready to go. I'd like to say a quick thank you to Michael Gelfi, who is our ambient noise creator. He is in the little link in the bottom. And I believe that's it.
Cool. Thank you, Michael. All right. Welcome to Catastrophic Solutions. Who would like to do a summary of what happened last week?
I have enough cards.
Okay. Would you like to share with the class?
Sure. Okay, so we started off with determining that we needed to go ahead and get our winter clothes made. So Torque set about making a get-up something like that, which you might see on Vincent Price. Bobble has one that's more like Prince. Dusty and I both kind of are a little less well dressed. Dusty looking a little bit more like a overstuffed couch or like one of those little kid like Superman outfits. And I have a sweet bomber jacket with sheep onesie feet hanging out at the bottom. We started off by entering a vault because we, found things and we like to go exploring. And that consisted of a gravity challenge. We did an interesting curse challenge where we had to play by certain rules in conversation that led to some interesting exchanges. And then we had like a bloody painter painting episode and fought some of our mimics. At the end, we were successful, and in frustration, I learned if that was all, and was answered yes. And kind of screwed us over out of something, so I feel a little bit rotten about that. But after that, I want to say we had maybe just started. Torque had, studied a little bit of religion, learned a little bit about the afterlife, then decided to do some push-ups and deadlift the table.
Failed miserably, right? I couldn't roll.
You had a rough week last week. Rough week.
Did I? I became acquainted with Griffin Husbandry, and we met Shiny Bebop, Garfield, and Rocksteady. Bobble learned some spells, or is still in the process of working on some spells, and Dusty is becoming more and more proficient in Arcana. On the third day, the Howling Hatred came in, 9 of Yancy Ben's squad, and he's a little bit like Captain Planet in my recollection, just kind of wanting to return everything to elemental chaos. And anyway, learned a little bit about what the elemental plane is, and that the people that are, fighting for his cause are kind of psychotic. But we did get some pixie dust out of the deal, and maybe you need to look for some sort of interaction later on. We fortified the castle, or what's his name? Zephyros has fortified the castle in preparation for their, perhaps, fielding some sort of attack. And my hope was that the Griffins would be safe, but it seemed as if they were not. I heard what sounded like labored breathing. So after we had done our watches, I went up to check on them and
Scaled the outside
scaled
of the tower.
outside of the, about, what was it, 100 feet, 200
About 140 feet,
140
something like that.
feet, worth it. And
Worth
just,
it?
and just found Garfield munching on some catch. I think it was like trout or something.
Yeah, he had some big old trout.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Hey, so, anyway, Shiny wasn't that successful, but I gave him a good berry, so he should be good. And that's pretty much where we left off. Tour, yeah. We begin day 5.
Begin day 5. Okay. With Zephyros still unconscious, dawn breaks across the tower as you guys are continuing to sail north in this floating cloud castle. You can tell that the landscape underneath you is changing. What had been peaceful rolling vales and hills and forest is giving way to more craggy and rocky steppe. You see in the distance for the first time the faint outline of an enormous mountain range that you know to be called the spine of the world. You think that you're still several days away from it, but you feel the first chill in the air. The first scent of cold breaks upon the weather. Gabrielle, as you finish your watch, staying atop, tending the griffins as they rest, and dawn breaks across the Sword Coast of Faerun, you look down and you see everything seems peaceful. Everybody is asleep inside, having made accommodations. You know it's time for you to change watch over to Radiant Dust. What would you like to do?
I guess. Try to climb down.
Go ahead and
I do have my immovable rod, so if things
Have
get a
your
little hairy,
immovable rod?
I've got.
it's gonna take you a little time. Give me an athletics check. Real easy one since you got the immovable rod.
Used the wrong die already.
How high up are you?
140 feet.
140 feet above the base of the tower, which is floating just miles above?
No, you guys float about 1,000 feet over the surface.
Okay.
You don't float super high. You're not flying at like jetliner, Airmax 737 height.
Not even the height of Denver.
7.
No. 7?
Mm-hmm.
7 total? Okay. As you go to climb down, you hear a squawking noise behind you, and you turn over and you see Shiny getting up from where he had nested down. And as you go over the edge, your immovable rod, the button sticks for a second. Shiny lunges forward, and you feel this griffin's beak grab you by the back of the collar, and he drags you back up onto the ledge by the collar of your bomber jacket.
Aww. Love Shiny.
You unlucky.
He looks at you like, Mama, what are you doing?
Oh, sweet. Well, thank you.
He pulls you back up onto the top. At that point in time, go ahead and make an animal handling check.
So you can go.
Natural 1.
He turns around and, seeming a little annoyed at your chicanery, he goes back down and beds down.
That's fair. It's more than fair.
All right, that's how this is gonna start off.
So, as you are trapped atop the tower, playing hide and seek with the griffins, basically, picking at your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
Radiant Dust, you wake up inside the Tower of Zephyros. Everything is quiet, but almost as though on command, at 6 bells in the morning, the 4 lights that dangle from the aperture that leads from the first floor to the second floor ignite, casting long shadows over the interior of the castle. You see your compatriots, Torque and Bauble, have each made pallets on the ground here. The large table of the common area is there, and the curtain that separates this from the outside is fluttering, and the door is wide open. What would you like to do?
First things first, look around and make sure nothing seems out of place from my view in this giant's home.
Make a perception check.
15.
15. You hear a gentle
Where's it
like
coming from?
It's coming from the second floor.
Do I have any way of getting up there right now?
There's a rope ladder that Zephyros had hung down so that you guys could come and go if the necessity arose.
Okay. Well, go over, shake you.
Why?
Hey man, there's something weird going on upstairs. I'm gonna go check it out. Also, Gabby hasn't come down from her watch yet. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if you want to wake up.
I'll go check on
Or-
Gabby. You go check on the second floor.
All right. Also, nudge you. I don't know what wakes you up. I'm gonna try just like nudging you, like basically kicking your shoulder.
Immediately up into battle stance. Who's fucking doing shit?
Okay, he's gonna go check on Gabby because she ain't in from her watch, and I heard something upstairs, so I'm gonna climb this rope ladder and try to go up there and check it out.
Is this the end of a long rest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
It
the only.
sounded like a shift change.
You're just asking me like if you slept all night. Seems like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems like you were asleep pretty hard, man.
All right. Yeah. What do you want me to do?
I don't know. That's up to you. I'm just
Okay.
giving you.
I go pet my cat.
You go over and you find that Tressum is curled up atop the giant's chair and is nuzzled in it as you go up and you climb up onto the chair. It takes an effort and you pull up. You begin petting the kitty.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take this in two separate steps. First, you. As you walk outside, you can see up to the top, you see just the tiniest little heels of a gnome being drugged back over the edge. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna call up Gabby. You need some help?
I'm fine. I think maybe. Is this
I have
advantage or
Featherfall.
what is this?
Advantage on
Okay.
one roll.
Okay. Let me try one more time, and if I.
I'll prepare Featherfall.
Okay.
You hold the spell, you start saying the words, and this small ball of gentle white arcane energy just rests in your gnomish hands.
Better. Is it a athletics check again?
Yes.
It was 13.
13 total?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll percentile die for me.
53.
53. As you get a little over halfway down, your grip gives way and you begin to fall.
Okay.
You plunge probably about 20 or 30 feet, and then all of a sudden you feel this force catch you, and it's almost like a down pillow explodes underneath you as this ball of arcane energy goes off, and these multicolored, like pastel and neon goose feathers fly out around you, and you descend gently towards the ground.
This is lovely. Thank you.
Very welcome. I saved you.
You did. Thank you.
Remember that, because he'll never forget.
I am forever in your debt.
There's just this, it just kind of all settles down, and for a moment it's like you're in some sort of strange poultry-based roller disco.
Go there.
There's some stuff going on the second floor. We should probably go help them check it out.
Oh, sure.
You, as you climb up the rope ladder to the second floor, you get up and you see the unconscious body of Zephyros. You see his massive library with these bookshelves that are floor to ceiling. You see his bed and his sleeping area, his work desk, and the navigation orb, which is humming along normally. And over underneath his bed, you see this chest, which had kind of registered with you earlier, but you didn't pay a lot of attention to because you thought it might be a little rude. The top lid of it is smacking up and down.
And there's no real reason, because it's not a bumpy ride or anything.
Perfectly smooth.
Alright, I'd like to go over and look at it. I don't want to touch it. I want to look at it and see if I can discern what's going on.
You go over and you look at it. The chest is massive, probably about 8 or 9 feet long and 5 feet high, with thick oaken construction and heavy bands of Damascus steel that bind this thing at the corners. And it is unlocked, but heavily reinforced.
Is there anything that I can tell that's causing it to like bang against the bottom of the bed, or why it would be?
Looks like something inside it is causing it to smack up and down.
I wish I had thought. I'm gonna go back to the portal, like the hole in the floor. Hey, guys, there's some chest up here that seems to be like smacking against the bottom of Zephyros' bed. I think it's from something inside of it, but I want at
Mimic.
least one person up here that could possibly help me out in case things go wrong.
It's a ladder.
Yeah, there's a rope ladder. Okay, you go. The two of you guys walk back inside and you see Torque climbing up this rope ladder very intently. What would you guys like to do?
Follow along.
Okay. The four of you, I assume you wait on them to get up to the top? Okay. The four of you are all now standing on
As
the
soon
second...
as he gets to the bottom of the rope, I start pulling it up.
Gabrielle, you're
Grab it
staring
quickly.
as he all of a sudden gets pulled up to the top.
No, I mean,
No, you're just playing a
No,
prank
being
on
able
him.
to
Oh.
grab it.
when he's reaching for it, I'm yanking it out of
Oh.
reach.
Okay, so I
That's
see
messed
that
up.
happening, and I go back to the chest.
Okay.
After a couple times, I let it
I
down
will
and I go
pull you
over
down here.
But mage hand just grabbed my ankle.
You guys all find yourself on the second story of Zephyros' castle. His unconscious body lays kind of drooling and gibbering across from the navigation orb. And you see this large chest, 9-10 feet long, 5 feet high, sturdy construction, and the lid of it is smacking up and down. Maybe only a couple of inches, but it's producing enough of a noise that you're like, hey, what's going
Torque,
on?
can you pull it out from under the bed?
It's gonna bite me.
I mean, I didn't see any face on it, and it looked like something inside was causing it.
You ain't never touched a box or a chest that opened up and bit you?
No.
Bed.
What
bed
kind of
bit
world
us.
did we live in? I had a bed turn into a dragon. That kind of was scary.
I'm afraid of everything.
Yeah, should
All right,
be.
can I check it for traps?
Sure, make an investigation check at disadvantage since
So,
you're
the,
standing away.
the giant...
Are you going
No,
up to
no,
it
I'll
physically?
go up and I'll check it, but I can't like pull it out from under there. I don't think because I ain't very strong.
Okay,
And it's
hold
very
on.
big.
All right, hold on. The giant's asleep,
Unconscious.
unconscious. Is he?
Catatonic.
Okay. I'll go up and I'll take my shield and I'll do this on the chest. I'll just hit it once, see if it tries to snatch my shield.
As you walk up to it, you take your shield,
Do a
you
little
smack it. You give it a
little
little
tap.
love tap, and appears to be a chest that you just smacked with a shield.
All right, man. Let me
Did
just
it
let me look
stop
at it. I
bouncing
kind of know
around?
what some traps
Nope.
look like. Let me look at it.
Why are we messing with this giant's chest? What if he wakes up and gets mad at us for screwing around with his stuff?
I
You
say
don't
we
quite
tie,
seem like the type that gets mad yet.
tie a slice of yam to yarn, slip it in there for a second, pull it back out.
Can I look at it, or do we want to do that first?
You want to just look at it? Yeah, go look at it.
Yeah, I want to go like look up close, see if I can notice any type of traps I'm used to seeing.
Okay.
We are guests
Watch
in
your
his house.
fingers.
Is he?
Yeah, and maybe something in here can help him. You're the herbalist. What if he's got all sorts of herbs in there that can help him?
Wait, is he? I thought he went to bed.
No.
No.
He fell unconscious after having a meeting when he said that he could go psycho and all sorts of other things could happen. He's basically in a coma.
Okay.
From
It's been a
talking to
long
the
time
gods.
since we played. Okay.
I know.
All right, then. Yeah, check it for traps.
Played what?
What's he talking about?
That was.
That's he,
Okay.
Can I investigate?
he said 2 days, right, for his
They-
whenever.
Oh, I think he did.
So
All right.
it's been 1 day, so he should be back in about a day.
Okay.
19.
19, completely mundane chest. Everything about it seems to be made of mundane construction.
What
I
is
really
it
think
that
it's something inside, and I can try to push from the other side to help you, but I don't know how much help I'm
I'll
gonna
push.
What is it that it's
You'll
tied up
push
with?
and I'll-
Pushing's
try to
easier
pull.
than pulling.
It's just a metal banded chest. It's not secured or locked in any way, and you can just see the lid on it. It's kind of just. boop, boop.
be. Hey, will you give me
I
one
think
of
you
your
said it was
ropes?
reinforced with something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
How much
reinforced in the
rope do you
corners
want?
with Damascus steel.
Okay, but it's just like just like
An exceptionally
you-
well built.
Is there like a handle on
It's
the
a very
side?
nice chest.
I'm gonna knock on it.
Is there a handle on one side of it?
Yes.
I would like to tie, he's giving me 50 feet of rope, I'm gonna tie it around the edge so that at least the three of us, who might not be as strong as that guy, have something we could pull while he's trying to push it.
Okay.
I'm gonna knock on it.
Well,
Who's in there?
No response. Just keeps bouncing.
Is there
You're gonna get it right back, man.
is there
Oh, was
clearance,
that
Nothing
my
really
knock?
goes wrong.
Yeah.
but
Oh,
he's-
I was responding. I thought somebody inside was knocking.
is there clearance underneath the bed to lift it up and peek in or no?
Not enough. You'd have to pull it out from under the bed if you wanted to fully open the lid.
Well, not even to fully open it.
There's
just
there's maybe a foot between the top of the lid and the bottom of the bed.
What's the biggest something could be in here? Hop out.
I mean, 9 foot by 5 foot at least.
Is that how big the,
So like 5 foot
the
tall?
chest is?
That's how big
Yeah.
the chest is. Well, I mean, it could be on its side, like pushing with
Is
its
the
arms.
bed keeping it closed, or is it only just popping up a little bit?
No, just pop it up a little bit.
Alright, I'll push it down.
Would be an alternate dimension.
Okay, make a strength check.
And we're pulling on the rope.
Make a strength check with advantage.
Be ready to throw a whole person on somebody if something hops out of here, right?
Okay.
Or something.
I've got my longbow at the ready. I
Okay.
don't know what's gonna
So
happen.
you
Charm
two are
person
not
if I need
pulling?
to.
I'm not
Huh?
pulling.
What's your strength score and what's your strength score?
Mine's -1. That's why I did the rope though, so that y'all could help.
3-man pull.
Yeah,
Get ready to
3 pull,
I'm also -1.
and you push. That's why it's gonna be multiple of us.
What's your strength score, Gabrielle?
-1. So don't roll at advantage. Roll a d20
Yeah.
and add a d4 to it.
We're gonna call this a straight roll.
Excuse me, my score is 0.
Alright.
The whole point of the rope and pulling was to help him.
So,
Not so you guys
when I
could
try
stand
and
back
pull
and
things,
ready a
I
spell.
basically push them.
That's not. You're not at a -4. You're at a -1.
Negative strength.
Strength check.
Yes.
16.
That is sufficient. If you are able, with great effort and a little bit of grinding, you manage to push it across the cloud stuff that makes up the floor of this building, and you push it out from under the bed. And you can see the knocking has not stopped. The lid on this thing is, it's maybe slowed a little bit, but it's still about every 4 or 5 seconds popping up.
I'm gonna cast my mage hand, and I'm gonna do it invisibly,
Is there a table?
and use it to open up the lid. So that
It is too heavy for your mage.
okay.
Is there a table or something that I can get like at a slightly
Giant's bed.
elevated?
There's the giant's
I'm
bed,
gonna
there's
hop up. I'm
another
gonna
work
climb
desk.
up onto his bed so that I can ready a shot to fire down at it.
There's a gigantic library that runs up with enormous bookshelves.
That's fine.
Okay, you hop on top of the bed,
I'm readying a shot.
like you do. What are you doing, Bob?
Like I do.
I am going to tie a piece of yam to some yarn,
Okay.
I'll untie your rope and give it back to you too.
and then I'll hand it to Torque.
I don't want this.
Okay, fine. I use my mage hand, and as soon as I start swinging the yam around on the string, as soon as it opens, I'm gonna try and throw it in there.
Okay, make a dexterity check,
Oh no.
or sleight of hand.
This is I'm assuming there's just like a latch on it. That's what's keeping it closed. Okay.
But it's not locked, it's just, like if you had a trunk and you put the latch down, it was on the catch.
21.
You just managed to sneak it in, and you throw it in, and you bounce, nothing happens.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull the yam out slowly.
Pull it out slowly, it gets all mushed as it's coming back over, and you pull it out, it's otherwise unmolested.
Okay.
It's almost more scary. No,
What do I
it's,
got here?
I don't even think it's alive.
Whatever's in there doesn't like yams.
Okay.
I'm going to cover myself in yam juice, and I'm going in.
You're
He's
talking
talking about.
So
he
How hard it is to
slid
juice a
through-
yam?
He made a very good roll and threw it in as the lid popped up.
Okay.
He managed to throw it through the little crack.
Okay.
And he
Alright.
like fished with a piece of yam, and then pulled it back out. Nothing
Alright.
took the bite.
Alright, I get my shield ready. One of you mage hand the latch. Come on, flip that thing over.
I mean, there is no latch. It's unlocked, but my mage hand.
thought the
wasn't
latch was
having
keeping
It's
it.
got a latch on it. It just doesn't have a lock through it.
But he was saying that your hand wasn't strong enough to
Heavy.
open it.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out how it opens if there's a latch keep. If there's
I'm
The
sorry.
latch has a little give, I guess. I don't know.
So you know how like on a trunk you have like a piece of metal that comes out and lays over, and there's like a loop that comes out that you would put a lock through.
Yeah.
If
but
you don't
then
have
it
that
wouldn't-
lock through.
So if it opens, no one has to hold the latch open for him to pop it up.
No, I just think there's a little bit of give, and like his yam went through
Yeah.
like the tiny little. Because it's a giant chest.
The only reason-
Alright,
and
I
sounds
flip
like
the
a
latch
shitty latch.
and I throw the thing open.
Sure.
Okay. As you throw it open, you see inside, peering over, there is an enormous pair of sandals, several robes, a hand mirror that is gigantic. It's probably about 3 foot wide, and there is a box that seems to be made out of smoked dark glass that's leaking water at the corners, and it has a cork on the top of it. And there's some sort of weird script that even speaking giant, you're like, this isn't giant. This isn't originally from Zephyros. This is some strange language inscribed on the top in what appears to be red engraving.
What you got in there?
I relay that to all of them.
Hey, can I see that
as you-
mirror? I need to see what I look like.
You
You guys
see
keep
the-
giggling when I'm not paying attention.
Too heavy.
You see this glass box with the cork on the top. It's probably about a little over 2 foot wide by 1 foot deep, and it's what's bouncing up and down.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah.
You said there's water coming out of it? Is it water?
Smoke.
It's
That's
like it's condensating on the outside.
Okay. I'm gonna do some sniff.
It's not leaking, it's just condensating.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little sniff check, a little taste test. Use does this register on my alchemical
Okay.
radar?
Go ahead and make a nature check.
Not an alchemy check.
We're not inventing skills.
What is that?
How about later?
6.
Something later?
6. Tastes like water.
No, negative nature.
Yeah. It's intellect.
Why would that surprise you? He's a cleric.
Who loves
He
cats?
believes, but he believes God will take care of everything for him.
Okay.
Cats are animal handling mostly.
He loves alchemy and herbs.
We have a nature
So-
guy, but he's sick today.
That's
You
a
get-
survival check. Those are based on survival.
You guys see Torque throws open this thing, reaches in, runs his finger around something. You two, being as short as you are,
No,
just
I'm
see
up
this
on the
giant.
bed, that's why I'm on
Right,
the
you
bed.
looking
I
down,
thought-
see
I
this.
couldn't.
You, short as you are,
Sorry.
can see it.
It's gonna be
Dusty,
two of those.
you see very clearly he wipes some condensation off this smoked glass enclosure and tastes it. Kind of begins nodding his head slowly.
What's it taste like, man?
Tastes like water.
Tastes like water.
Can any of y'all read what's,
Tastes like chicken.
can any of y'all read what's written on it? I see like some scribe?
Is it familiar to
Some
me?
script?
What languages do you speak?
Thieves can't, gnomish, and common.
Nope.
Gnomish?
Nope.
Giant infernal.
Nope.
I also know halfling.
Nope.
Oh.
Does it look like? Do I recognize what language it might be from?
Does it look like any
Sure,
of the
make a
reds we
straight up
found?
intelligence check.
3.
3. Looks like shapes.
Is that cuneiform?
I'm starting to
Letters.
something.
In fact,
Feel
you're not
cursed.
even sure it's writing. It might just be
Okay.
scroll work or design work.
Yes, put some good luck on it, man.
Or just take out the bad luck.
This is 1.
Yeah, 1 and a 13. Just take out the bad
I have to
luck.
go get another D20 out of the room.
Here, you want mine?
I'm not touching DM dice.
We have no other recourse than
There's
to
a-
drink it.
I mean, that's about what I'm
Can
thinking.
you haul it out and we can
Yeah,
look at it a
What
little bit
potions do
further?
we give you to revive you afterwards?
Is it,
You
is it
have them?
I got health potions.
like giant?
Just don't go through my herbs.
Giant frisky aftershave? I mean, it's
Let's dip the cat in it.
Can
I
we
don't
see-
actually. I don't have any healing potions. Actually, I have one.
Can I see
healing.
how that was pushing the box open?
It appears that the whole thing is just bouncing.
And it's basically just sitting on like robes and sandals?
Yep.
And it's like next to the mirror?
Yeah.
Can't see anything floating around inside.
Make a perception check.
Come on, baby.
Is it making any noises?
If you haul it out, I might be able to inspect it further.
15.
Nope.
Okay.
Just
I mean,
basically a glass square
with a cork.
with a cork in the top of it.
There's like a circular opening in the top.
Yep.
Okay.
You
I
got
just
it.
haul it out.
Okay, you lift it up. It feels abnormally light, actually. Like, for what you would expect, it's too light, and you easily pick it up and set it on the ground.
I'd like to like closely inspect it and see if hold on, I had something like a second ago. If what's inside looks more gaseous or liquidy, if it's warm or cold, like do a full on inspection.
Sure, go ahead and make an investigation check.
How was it that Zephyros communicated with the other planes?
20, not
Via the navigation orb.
dirty.
Dirty 20?
Yeah.
Dirty 20.
just
The
dirty.
temperature of it is about room temperature, maybe a little bit colder because it seems to be collecting condensation from the air. As you move it back and forth, you can kind of hear the sloshing of water. But one thing that stands out to you is as you move it back and forth, the actual level of the fluid inside doesn't change, even though you can hear it and feel it sloshing.
Can I like see through the smokiness?
It's
enough
very
to-
difficult. It's heavily smoked.
Okay,
you
so
need
it's
just, like, shade it,
it's
or is
almost
there actual,
completely
like-
opaque. at that
Almost
point.
completely
I'm
opaque.
gonna have to work around.
You can just make out that there's some sort of fluid.
I gotta somehow work my entire game around not having to roll dice.
I.
Here, let me give it one more go.
Okay.
No, yours. Can I help you? Alright, y'all, there's some weird stuff happening with these rocks. I don't feel like it's like super cold. There's 2 sevens. What's that one?
9.
Okay.
You do it.
Huh?
I mean, I don't want to roll your good stuff.
Oh.
There we go.
That's me.
Yes. Now.
He reset the luck on the dice.
Yes. Thank you. Those are all double digits. Jeez.
It's your watch too. So do we want to just maybe think on this and come back to it later and just make sure that everything's okay for the next few hours?
Yeah, you didn't see anything while you were out there.
No. I almost fell off the wall, but Bob helped me.
I'm gonna pull a torque.
I'm kind of happy I told
I'm
you
gonna pull a
shit
torque
before
and pull the cork.
You pull the cork, you grab it, and
Never
it's
mind.
pretty good size cork. You crank it out, and you look down inside, and it is incredible that as you peer down inside, it's like there's a depth that goes on forever. As you look inside this thing, as you look down, almost for a moment, you can see the movement of this enormous ocean.
Do I feel like I'm getting hypnotized?
No.
Okay.
Just like there's a very deep source of water through this hole, like looking down into a manhole. A very small manhole.
I feel like Torque would put his finger in it.
Does it look like water or universe in there?
You dip your finger down into it, and it's fresh water.
Looks
Fresh
like
water.
infinite water.
That he hid under his bed.
That is jumping up and down.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
11.
11?
It's you, man.
Has nothing to do with the dice.
All of a sudden, something grabs the end of your finger and begins to pull down. You
Cut
can't
the
see
finger off.
what it is. It's like it's pulling on you as you're pulling
I
on.
grab it back. Is it solid?
It feels like something bit the end of your finger.
Bit?
Yeah.
Is there something I can like a jaw
No.
I can grab onto?
Not like it's biting into you, but like it's clamping onto you.
Is it corporal enough for him to grab?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but do
Don't
I mean,
get within your whole hand.
You just got a finger in the water. What are
well,
you
yeah.
doing
Now
You
that
sticking
now
your
that
arm in the
I'm
water?
now that I'm like
Okay, so you're gonna reach over and you're
now,
gonna stick
no,
your
no,
arm
no,
in?
no. I'm trying to show. I'm trying to visualize for you. Now that my hand is clamped, I want to try to grab the thing that's grabbing me and pull it out.
Okay, make a strength check.
Come on, baby. Do this shit. 17.
As you go to grab it, it lets go and disappears back in the water.
Something bit me, Charlie.
You point out there's like small rows of a couple of indentations on your finger, but nothing sharp.
What's that? You know all sorts of
Make a
stuff
nature
about
check.
bites.
Alright, I'll tell you exactly what it is. 15.
Looks like a duck bite.
That's a duck bite right there.
Is that Mr. Quackers?
I pull out Mr. Quackers. Run his beak along the finger.
Don't take this quick. Stick it in the.
No, you're not.
Y'all are so
Not
bizarre.
this one and die.
Can you stuff him in that bottle?
I've always been
Try.
jealous. I've always been jealous of your bond. Just throw like quackers in the bottle. No, I'm not.
What did you see?
Something bit me.
Something bit you.
Something
What did
bit
you see
me.
in there?
That's just the infinite ocean. Did I see anything bite me when I went to reach and grab it? It just looked like water was grabbing
There's
a
no
hold of me.
light source in there.
Is it pitch darkness?
Mm-hmm.
Can I look in there and see if I can see anything?
Sure.
What
With
do you-
dark vision?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Rusty, come over here and what does your elf eyes see, your cat eyes see?
I'll go ahead and hop down. I like to see things. I can see things very well in the dark.
That'd be a 13. Nothing?
Negative.
Alright.
I hop down because I'm curious now.
You're all standing around this thing, peering into
Oh,
it.
I don't know if do I need to look? Because I've got 90 feet. Whatever. No.
No.
Okay. Never mind. JK. All right. Well.
You can see, however, that you, because you've got 90 feet, can see this thing opens up as you peer down into it. It opens up and it's almost like some sort of aquarium. There's a definite bottom to it, and you can see some seaweed that's growing up from it, and there's what appears to be a large log on the bottom of it, and it's difficult for you to make out because it's on the very edge of your vision. But you can tell this is some sort of constructed aquarium.
So 2 foot by 1 foot on the outside, but on the inside 90 feet is the edge of your vision.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
I have this feeling we shouldn't be messing with this.
if we can go ahead and plug it back up. I don't know what.
It's like
It bounces again.
Can I put my mage hand in that water and feel around, essentially, and try to see if I can grab anything? Besides whatever
like-
she describes as the
feel
log.
like we're messing
Sure.
with somebody's private
Um,
stuff.
As you reach in with your mage hand, moving it around with a 30-foot range, there's nothing. It just feels like water
Okay.
in every direction.
Alright guys, well you guys can figure out whatever's going on. I think someone should be watching the outside after our visitors the other day.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
gonna pull a little fluff ball out of my tan bag,
Okay.
and I'm gonna toss the little fluff ball into the little. Yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
It seems like that's
I'll put it
probably,
back in my
those are
bag.
probably like his
Get a
pets.
giant moose
Those are,
trying to
yeah, those are probably like his pets or something. I don't think.
I just want to remind you, the entry to this thing is in a 2 foot by 1 foot
Yeah.
box.
Yeah, like a
It's
moose.
maybe like 8 inches in diameter.
You would have to throw it in there and let it just create itself inside.
See what
You're like,
happens.
yeah,
You watch some elf like trying to stick its nose through a tube.
he'll be up in about a day. We'll just ask him about it. Just say, hey,
Yeah, I feel like
you're-
we're messing with some dudes.
it wasn't locked, so it's not like we broke in.
It
was
jumps
just
again.
jumping. I put the cork back on it.
I kind of want to pour it out.
No, there's things in there.
I know.
Let's feed it to the giants.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Hey, you said there's a mirror in that box, right?
What's this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over and look in the mirror and
It's
see
an
how
enormous
bad
mirror.
I look.
Giant sized mirror. You look pretty goofy.
Okay, I'm gonna spend some time trying to fix that, I guess. Since
Okay.
we're still just staying up here, while they're goofing around with the bottle, I'm gonna try and clean
Okay,
it up.
go ahead and make a dexterity check.
I'm gonna grab the mirror.
You pick the whole mirror up
Can
out of
I-
the box.
Can I lift
Do
it?
I look? Do I look? I'm gonna look at him.
You're in purple and black and
I don't know what I
orange.
look like because the mirror isn't a big thing. I'm gonna look in the mirror at him. Does he look like he looks? Does he look the
I
same?
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the bottle in the mirror.
You look at the bottle in the mirror, it looks
Same
like
shit.
a 2 foot by 1 foot. Looks the same as your eyes.
I'm gonna put it on the ground and I'm gonna poke the surface.
You poke the surface and it's the surface of a mirror.
Okay, I'm gonna do an Arcana check on it.
Okay,
Just
go
to
ahead and check.
settle this right now. 13.
It's mundane mirror.
Okay.
I got an 8. I'm guessing I still look goofy.
You still look pretty goofy.
Did I fix anything?
You rearranged the lumps in such a way that you now look like Dana Carvey in one of those SNL skits. Like, we're
Hans
here
and
to
Franz?
pump you up! Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, I'll be Franz.
Yeah.
Down.
Hans and Franz. So do we want to put the decanter back in the box, and then we could maybe do you want to put the mirror on top of it so it doesn't hop quite as much?
It hops again.
You should probably put it back the way we found it.
And it never hopped before. Did anybody hear it hopping?
No.
Maybe he's stuck in there.
Maybe if it is his pet, it's hungry.
You bet
If
you-
he's dead,
I
it
throw a
hasn't
good
been
berry in
fed.
there.
We've got
You
a
throw a
cup.
good berry in.
I throw a good berry in there.
We've got a cup.
Okay. As you throw the good berry in there, you see this movement. You, particularly with your night vision, you see this small, furry mass go dashing by. It grabs the good berry
Uh-huh.
and then disappears out.
It's a seal.
And the bottle stops popping.
Oh, okay, good. Good thoughts.
We did it.
We fed his fish. Now he won't die when he wakes up.
Yeah.
He'll be happy.
And he'll reward us. Unless we just fed something awful.
All right, I feel like this is one
Good berries
one
give
part
it
done.
kidney failure.
I'm gonna go outside and
It's like feeding a
The
dog
grapes.
grapes.
finish my watch.
He just poisoned his
Oh.
water dog.
Put this box back exactly the way we found it.
Yeah, all right. So I guess we
He
go
died
ahead.
of natural
We
causes.
rearranged it
Put him
just
in a
as it
trunk.
was.
Okay, you set it back exactly as you guys found it. You take a moment. Now, after all of this goofing off, it's about 7 bells in the morning.
Mhm.
What would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna go
On
do
the
my
5th day.
watch.
Hmm?
My first watch. Or whatever. The first part of the day. I'll go do my watch.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check just to set the DC for the watch.
7.
Okay.
Natural 1.
You are wandering around outside, preoccupied with your Franz style.
That makes sense. Trying to fix it.
For the morning session, while he's on watch, or you're sleeping. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to be learning a spell.
Okay, go ahead and make a
Oh wait, no, I'm
intelligence
not.
check at
I don't have
disadvantage.
any money. Never mind.
Okay, you are not learning the spell.
I am out of money.
I don't know what that looks like.
Did we not get any money from the thing?
I spent it.
Oh, already.
I don't think I have enough to help you.
How much
I
do
look
we
up.
use?
I believe it's 30 gold.
Is it 30 only?
Might be 50.
Depends on what school he's.
That's true, if it's his own
copying,
school,
if
it
it's his own
helps.
Were you still
school,
thinking about
what
doing,
level it is.
Still doing, comprehend languages?
Yeah,
You
that's
grab me
the
a
one I
Powerade
want
while
to
you're
do.
in there.
I have,
A what?
Powerade.
50 gold for both points.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, so you need 30?
I need actually
Probably needs
45.
45.
Alright, take it, it's yours.
Thank you.
I got 7.
Thank you.
I got 35.
I'll owe you.
Okay. You saved my life. I think it's maybe worth 45 gold.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so you're working on trying to transcribe a spell out of his books. I'm going to give you a choice on this. You can take this roll at disadvantage because you don't speak giant. You're trying to copy out of his books. Or if he'll give up
Oh,
his
I have it
marks-
in this book. Can't remember where I found this book.
She found it.
The one we
Oh,
found
okay,
in
the one from Lady
Hunting
Valrosa?
Lodge.
Yeah, if you want to copy out of Lady Valrosa's book, it's written in common and you don't need any assistance with that.
Yeah. What?
I hate to meta,
Uh-huh.
but you have that. I can help you copy a giant spell that we won't have access to after we leave this tower.
Why did you have to make that? Why can't
Well,
you tell
because I
him
mean,
that
I'll be
in
like,
character?
well, because I didn't know there was like a
Okay.
Exchange.
wizard book. Did you know there was a wizard book in the tower?
That's what he's been
No,
using.
that's the one that Lady Valrosa gave him.
Okay.
I believe there is.
But he's
Did
been
he
learning.
know?
He's been learning from the giant.
Yeah.
That's what
Really?
he's been doing.
His
every
question
day.
was,
Okay.
next time, if I already know comprehend languages, would that help me in learning the spells that you're going to teach me? So I figured that might give him
Let's
some
just
sort
go
of
ahead and make a
advantage.
baseline assumption that you guys are not complete morons. And so since you've done this before and you've worked with Zephyros, you know that his books are in giant, you would know to go to him and ask him to help you translate.
Okay.
Okay.
Decode. I'm going to assume a baseline of competency from you guys.
What kind
Appreciate it.
of
Most of
giant
us don't have
spells
much
are available to
intelligence.
me?
What kind of
This is
giant
like that.
spells do I find in the book?
There are all wizard spells of 1st, 2nd through 6th level in there. You can only copy spells that you have spell slots for.
Yeah, if you don't, so if you can get up to 3rd level, you can pick any 3rd level you wanted.
But he has up to level 6 that you can see transcribed in the
You
book.
have up to 50 gold from me. And I have some gems if you need gems, but I don't know if that works.
And I have 35.
If gems
gold.
work, then I don't need your gold.
Gems do not work until you sell them for gold.
Okay.
Up to
Actually, technically speaking, you need to sell them for gold and buy materials for transcribing stuff, but we're not going to do that. You need gold.
3rd level, animate, dead, bestow, curse, blink,
I'm only level 4.
clairvoyance. Oh, you have level
One
you
and
have
two.
level 2.
Yeah.
Alter self, arcane lock, blind, deaf, blur, cloud of daggers. Blur is pretty good.
Can you get knock yet?
Knock,
Knock is pretty fucking
invisibility,
sweet.
full person, gust of wind, gentle repose.
Wait, can he get knock?
Yeah, you can. 2nd level.
What's not?
It unlocks any lock.
Any lock.
I'm pretty sure you can look it up, but knock's a good one.
Misty step, Nestul's magic wand. Nestul.
What level is knock?
2nd.
See invisibility, shatter, spider climb, suggestion, web, see scorching ray.
You're sleeping, you're on guard, they're discussing things in the library as you go through Zephyros's.
So we can just
You guys take all the time.
I'm
It's
actually
not
sleeping on
metagaming because
Zephyros's
you've
bed.
got
I just figure why not?
Right. Well,
you've
what I'm
got
saying
his
is-
wizard books in front of you and you're translating for him. so-
Yeah. Well, I would say just to kind of keep things moving, since he knows he's got the money for it and he can just pick a spell and learn it, we can move on to
Go ahead and make an intelligence roll. Let's see how long it takes you in order to do this. Are you giving up your morning slot in order to translate with him?
12.
12? Real difficult. You can try again tomorrow. If you do better than a 10 again tomorrow, it'll be successful.
Okay.
You got to get better than 10 2 days in a row, or better than 18 one day in order to make it successful.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to, but it's just because I can pick locks, but that.
Knock seems not the kind of thing that he would just bash the door open with, or he might pick.
Okay. I just know in general it can be very fun.
Okay. So that's what you guys do in the morning. As your shift is over, Gabrielle, you wake up, you go inside and interrupt their study session, seeing how he is becoming frustrated with transliterating things and transcribing things from the giant cuneiform shapes that Zephyros uses to his more diminutive gnomish shorthand. You inform Torque that it is his turn to take over watch. Torque, will you set your watch DC for me? Make a perception check.
18.
18. You are super keen. You're
Sure
wandering
is.
around the outside of the ground of the tower. Tell me, how do you take your watch?
Yeah, just a full-on march.
Just a march?
Military march.
You go full guard duck, and you are just like marching around. No one else reads Pearls Before Swine? No, I'm the only one who reads that comic strip.
Which one?
Pearls
No, I've
Before
seen it.
Swine?
Mm-mm.
I have two. Also, I just like anything that talks about Mystic Quackers.
So you're going full little guard duck around the perimeter. What are you guys doing for your afternoon session? We got you're awake, you're awake, you're awake. Actually, who just took watch? You did? But you sleep during the night. Yeah, you're fine. Okay. The three of you are all awake. This is your powwow. And what are you guys doing for food?
I have good berries, so I could just get good berries.
Is that a level 1 spell? How many slots you got?
You can conjure a whole group at the beginning of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess she didn't specify however many she conjured, but
Pick up a bunch of rations. I have rations for
I
one
have-
day's
So you're
worth.
burning rations, you casting good berry, you're using your slot for it.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I have rations too. I have
This is the survival portion of the module.
when I create good berries, I can create up to 10 berries.
Okay. But they only last 24 hours. if I remember correctly, right? Okay, so burn a spell slot, and you have good berries for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you guys doing for your afternoon activities?
I'm just gonna explore his room in the library, just kind of do some investigation and see if I can find anything neat.
Find anything neat. Can you narrow that down for me? Work with a brother.
Keep leaning back in your chair.
Is there anything in Gnomish or Common, any other reading material or any other
anything you can understand.
anything I understand, or are there just any other interesting
He's got an
artifacts
enormous library that's 60 foot high. Can you narrow it down for me?
as far as anything? I mean, does he have anything in?
There's
in
a ton of
Common?
giant-sized books there.
I know he's got a
Several
ton
in
of
common,
giants.
giant, every language you
Oh,
can.
okay.
Some in languages you don't recognize.
Mhm.
He is a bit of a polymath. He has books on fashion, on culture, on ecology. You can tell several of the ones that are written in his own handwriting are ecology, specifically the Moonshae Isles off the western coast of Faroon.
I want to read about where we're going. I want to read about.
Icewind Dale.
Yes, Icewind.
Okay. You find a book in common. It is a travel journal,
Mhm.
and it has a particular entry on Icewind Dale
Mhm.
that reads as follows.
Mhm.
Icewind Dale is composed of 10 towns, of which the largest is Bryn Shander. Located in the frigid heart of Icewind Dale, here caravans from the south converge with traders from across Icewind Dale to swap goods and rumors. Fishers, trappers, furriers, and sellswords rub elbows in the town's tap rooms, and gruff dwarves, wide-eyed travelers, and skulking ne'er-do-wells wander its streets. Merchants from the south tend to bring dyes, hardwood, dried herbs and spices, textiles, fruit, wines, and other commodities for scrimshaw, and other items made from the bones of the knucklehead trout that populate the region's rivers and lakes. The town is situated atop a hill south of the mountain known as Kelvin's Cairn, a major landmark in Icewind Dale. From its windswept perch, Bryn Shander has a commanding view of the surrounding tundra, and an attacking force must climb the barren hillside under fire from archers before it can assault the outer walls. The circular wall that surrounds Bryn Shander stands 30 feet high and is made of tight-fitting stone blocks. Defenders stand atop planked walkways that hug the interior of the wall. Spaced along the wall are stone watchtowers, wherein guards can take shelter during blizzards and warm their hands and feet by iron stoves. The buildings of Bryn Shander are plain wooden structures with pitched rooftops that keep snow from settling on them. Clouds of white smoke issue forth night and day from stone chimneys and holes in the rooftops. Okay. Radiant, what are you doing?
Hey, Bobble, I know you've kind of been doing a lot of magic stuff lately. Do you think you would be willing to give me some time and help me just recognize some more Arcana symbols and maybe try to figure out if I can start to just understand a little bit more of this stuff?
Very well.
Okay, make a charisma check and make a intelligence check.
16.
That doesn't seem good. Intelligence is 3.
You hit a leg and you feel yourself in a flow. You're explaining things to him. You are a little bit hungover from your watch shift. You're a little bit exhausted, and it's hard for you to retain anything. What kind of things would you lecture him on if you were going to?
What are you trying to learn?
Arcana in general.
Just Arcana in general?
And how to like understand. So like I've learned some spells, but I want to know like I want to understand why what I do causes those spells to happen.
So I'll start with the basics.
So yeah, basically I'm looking for the what is it that I always hated in math? The theory behind Arcana.
I'm going to give him the magical theory.
You give him the magical theory.
Yes.
That sounds
Okay.
dirty, but I'm interested.
You're giving him the magical theory,
Mhm.
and it's
Give it to him.
maybe a little over his head right now. You can tell his eyes kind of glaze over. It's not because he's dumb. He's just tired right now. Yeah. Okay.
Still wasting my time.
As
Really
this
not,
goes
my
on,
intelligence and wisdom are both better than my other characters.
Should have taken notes.
as this goes on, you guys finish up day 5. The rest of your watch passes without event.
What did you learn?
Night falls
Think about what.
upon the tower. Your watch is over, and you come and wake up Gabrielle. Gabrielle, how would you like to do watch tonight?
If I went up to the top of the tower again, would somebody be there to help just in case I almost fell again?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'll just try to climb up the
You
tower.
ready?
Yeah. You gonna come watch me?
Yeah, I'll hang out.
Okay.
You guys
I'm
stand
interested
outside
in the
your-
spectacle.
Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Why does it athletics? Can it be like dexterity?
Climbing is athletics.
Is it? Is it now?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I have an advantage.
You have advantage on athletics checks?
Oh, I have advantage.
You have to spend that. It's like a token.
Okay.
You don't have advantage on everything.
No, I know. I know. I
So are you
understand.
using your token in order to get advantage on your athletics check?
Didn't do me much good.
No, did not.
Nope, it's 7.
Give me the turtle.
Oh, it's so
You
cute.
turtle abuser.
Turtle abuse. Well, I guess I am. I fed whatever creature that was.
You
with
climb to
me.
the top of the tower without
Okay.
incident.
Yay!
As you get to the top, the griffins have returned from their daily hunting. They've nested down. You see one of them has caught a small fawn, and they are tearing off chunks of it
Mhm.
and enjoying venison for the evening's dinner. Go ahead and set your perception DC with advantage.
Oh, cool.
Since you burned your turtle, I'm going to give you your DC with advantage.
Oh, very nice. Okay, perception, say. Uh, 14.
14. Okay. The air is now noticeably colder as you guys have traveled north. The ground underneath you is populated by thick taiga forests and hard evergreen trees that seem to grow and sway in the wind. Every now and again, you catch an occasional flurry of snow that passes through the air. The mountains in the distance grow larger as the darkness falls over the landscape. Your night vision kicks in. As you look out across the perimeter, you can see there's strange things that seem to be moving just at the edges of your vision.
Within
There's-
the top of the forest, or?
Within the top of the forest, in the distance, even for a moment you see large shapes that seem to be moving almost like they're intentionally maintaining a perimeter. But the rest
How
of it, it's difficult to tell at a distance because they would be well over 3/4 of a mile away. Whatever they are is substantial.
If you can see him from that far.
If you can see it, yeah, something you can see from 3/4 of a mile away. But the rest of the evening passes without incident. And like clockwork, at 6 bells in the morning, on day 6,
I'm up, and I use my mage hand to shake him as I kick him, so they're both up at the same time.
Genius.
you guys wake up, you see.
Grab him by the foot, because waking me up, I'm always fighting in my dreams, so I feel like it's an attack, and so I grab his foot and I roll him over and like pin him
Okay.
back.
Athletics check, dexterity check, acrobatics. You can make acrobatics.
Oh! Natural 20 and a
Yeah,
natural
as
1.
You, as you
Par
go
with
to
the course.
kick him, you all of a sudden you get leg drag, and he rolls up your thigh and pins you to the ground.
Then I realize it's him, and I'm like, sorry, kitty cat. Can't do that. And then I pet him.
As you're laying in place,
We're not
completely
cool like
pinned
that,
to the
bro. We're
ground,
not
you
cool
feel
like
his big, clumsy,
So sorry.
pancake-sized hands.
Dude, this is why I can't decide what's going on with you. It's first you tackle me, then you pet me, but you're still not letting me up.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
I
kinda
did. I
weird.
totally. As soon as I realized it was you, I hopped off, and I'm sorry. Started petting him, scratching your whiskers.
Weird.
Okay. The three of you are up. What would y'all like to do?
Back to the library.
Yeah, will you help real quick? We gotta get Gabby down.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're gonna sleep up there.
Okay.
I
I'll
wanna-
wander outside.
How many
look
days
up.
we got left in here?
It should be like 4 to 5. We're initially told 10 to 11.
The
It is
giant
10
might
to
wake
6.
up today.
I want to do stuff that I learned today.
Okay.
I now have things that I have on my mind that I want to do.
Okay.
Yay.
You're gonna learn today. I believe in you.
Okay. I'll wander outside and look up the tower. Start yelling at Gabby. You okay?
Sure.
And I'm out there as well. You gonna sleep up there or you coming down?
Honestly, I'll just sleep under here.
You warm enough?
Oh, Jenny's nice and comfortable.
Seems like there's a nip in the air.
It is quite nippy.
Cozying up to Shiny.
Yell at there not to be rude, but I'm super hungry. Those
Oh,
berries were good.
So I tossed down some good berries.
Yeah.
Jesus, from us.
stretch out your
They're
hand.
probably fine. Oh, we might want to feather fall these.
I'll feather fall the berries.
From the tips of your fingers, these small vines grow out, and they erupt into these flowers with red buds, and then berries. 10 of them appear in your hand, and they just drop off of the vines. And they just fall helplessly off of your hands after the spells.
Can I catch him?
Make a dexterity check.
Thank you. Certainly will. 17.
17, yes, you catch all 10 berries.
Nice.
Ah, alright,
One
here you
in
go,
your
man.
tail.
Oh yeah, it's like something out of Jackie Chan, dude. It's total Stephen Chow. You're just like.
I think you only need one to have sustenance for a day. Hey, I'm gonna give you an extra one though if you want to go feed that bottle.
Okay.
Because I know you're gonna be in the library, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. And make sure Torque gets some too.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I grabbed them. Put them in my pocket.
Alright, I'll start my watch.
Okay. Go ahead and set a perception DC for me.
19.
Okay.
Can I see those giant things?
It's morning? No. Everything appears to be clear and cold. It's irritating to you. Being predominantly a tropical and maritime denizen, you find this icy, chilly weather to be quite irritating, bordering on obnoxious.
Is it one of those where it's like cold enough that you can hear things for just miles and miles?
Yeah, but the speed at which you guys are traveling, that air sound tends to drown things out.
Fair enough.
You don't feel like you're moving that fast, but when you go outside, it becomes evident that y'all are moving at a pretty good clip.
Fair enough. I'm gonna take my weird, like bubbly outfit and kind of like dip my head down
You hunker
and
down.
try to like huddle up while still keeping an eye on things.
You're asleep, you're on watch, you guys are up for the morning. What are you guys doing?
First, I'll hand him a couple of berries and say, let's get to work.
I give Leo a berry.
You give Leo a berry,
Mhm.
okay. You give a berry to the cat, he
Gum.
sniffs it, seems to mistrust it, kind of swats it around, plays with it between his paws, and then pounces on it.
Wait, I do a nature check.
Go ahead and make a nature check.
Is this gonna give him kidney failure?
Just have a bunch of
6.
cornmeal. in
No,
it?
it's fine. He eats it.
It's a good berry.
Yeah, it's
They haven't
made
been
by,
killing him.
it's made by druids.
It's true. They haven't been killing me.
Okay, he retcons that, you're dead.
This
Okay.
is brilliant.
Cat seems perfectly fine. He takes off flying and flies up to the second level, begins prowling around.
Oh, yeah, he can
His
fly.
green wings
Alright.
kind of
I'm
flitting.
going to learn invisibility.
I figured.
Yeah.
Okay,
Makes sense.
so this is day 2. You're working on the same spell. You guys go up to the giant's laboratory. Go ahead and make your intelligence check.
Oh, baby.
8 to 10.
Yeah,
You
22.
do. 22. You learn invisibility.
Yeah.
You guys spend all morning transcribing it. You make good headway.
Cast it on me.
Fine.
Well, you gotta practice it, and I helped you do it. If I didn't translate all
Who,
that
by
shit
the way,
for you.
took the bag of pixie dust? Who's holding on to that?
I just don't
You?
have it.
Clearly
I don't
not
have
me.
it. I don't
have
remember.
any use for pixie dust.
I thought it would have been you because
We talked about playing with it, but we didn't ever like.
It sounds like something.
Then I guess I have it because I was the guy talking to them directly.
Well, somebody like threw it in a corner.
He threw it across the room. Someone picked it up.
I never had it.
Cast it on me.
Do I just have it prepared now if I learned it?
Yes.
Visibility.
You look down and you can't see your own hands.
Righteous. I'm gonna go sneak up on Rusty.
You're gonna go sneak up on Rusty.
Mhm.
Okay, you go outside. Make a stealth check with advantage.
So I stealth check straight since I have disadvantage because of my armor.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause there is still
Shit, I didn't mean to
sound.
do that. All right.
What was your? Did I ask you to set a perception check for your guard?
Yes, 19.
19.
Oof. Dang, I had a good roll too. 16.
16. You're clank. Clank, clank, clank.
Down, down, down,
Clank,
down,
clank,
down,
clank,
down,
clank,
down,
clank,
down.
clank, clank.
I would like to act like I don't notice, but my tail gives away the fact that I do. And it gets like that like bushy, like on edge thing. You know?
As you're trying to sneak up on him, all of a sudden you see the edge of his tail.
Poke me in the tail.
Oh my god.
I got you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I go back in. I'm super happy.
All right, you go back in.
It's good enough for me.
All right, Gabrielle, you wake up
Second on the spell
and
slot.
you are on the top of
For that.
the Tower Arcane, the Tower of Zephyros, floating 1,000 feet above the surface of the Sword Coast. The air is cold. The griffins have all gone out hunting except for Shiny, who has remained curled up around you. As you wake up, he picks up himself and for a moment pauses and looks at you. What would you like to do?
I did not speak or attack. And he
I
never turned
You
around.
did speak.
will assume
You're
that I at
fine.
least say
The
two
spell
good berries,
ends
one
the
for me,
target
one
that
for
it
Shiny.
attacks
Sure.
or passes spells
So I give
against
Shiny a
us.
good berry because I
Yeah.
know he's protected him.
He kind of hunches down
Uh huh.
and everything, pauses. and goes in and grabs it out of your hand.
Aw, and I give him scritches.
You give him scratches.
Cool.
I'm still invisible. Sneak up on him.
I just want to be nice to Shiny. I don't really. I mean, I eventually want to like learn
You've
how
got
to.
all the Griffin Cares
Mhm.
materials up here, the files, the bits, the bridles for riding gear. You've got anything that you want. This area is basically a well-equipped Griffinary.
Mhm.
That Griffinary,
Mhm.
Griffinary,
Oh, dear.
like a granary for Griffins, but Griffinary. That Zephyros keeps on top of his tower. Anything you'd like to try to accomplish today?
I mean, I know I'm a little, I guess, because I'm thinking I do want to progress for further and learn how to ride them, but I don't want to be foolish about it, and I don't know. I will go ahead and saddle and bridle Shiny
Mm-hmm.
and attempt to climb up on him and see how he responds to that.
Okay, make an animal handling check.
14.
14. Okay. You get the bit and the bridle in, and that's easy enough. The saddle, little bit more touch and go. But as you pull the buckle on it and you pull it into shape, you go to put your foot in the stirrup, and as you lift yourself up, you see his plumage and his feathers begin to raise up and then relax. And you throw your other leg over it, and you find yourself in the saddle.
Cool.
He doesn't seem particularly agitated, maybe a little bit hyper aware, but he's not moving.
I just let the reins kind of loose, and I just pet him. I'm just kind of sitting for a little bit, just kind of get him acclimated to hanging out.
You spend the rest of the afternoon getting the Griffin used to your presence, and it takes a little while. They're skittish animals, and you also know this is a prey animal. This is a carnivore. And so getting it used to...
Prey?
What would otherwise be prey sitting on top of it, probably.
Right. Getting it used to having you around is weird. But, yeah, you feel like you've accomplished something here. You've made serious progress, for sure. Getting in saddling the thing, serious progress.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm satisfied.
You guys have the afternoon. Go ahead and set your DC for your watch.
Perception?
Yep.
It's going down, bitches. The tide is turning. 21.
21. You are hyper aware. You can see everything about the landscape that is passing underneath you guys. You can see the flurries of snow that are beginning to move in. You can see how the weather roils and moves coming off of the mountains. The spine of the world now, you can make out different cliffs and crags in the distance. And you're able to ascertain that at the pace you guys are moving, you think you'll be at your destination in about 4 or 5 days, depending on headwinds. As you two are setting up on the second story, you hear a groan and a lurch, and all of a sudden Zephyros rolls over and vomits.
On
This
you.
torrent
On you.
of vomit out across the ground, and he pulls himself up to a seated position and drags himself over to his bed. Pulling himself up halfway onto the edge of the bed, he turns around. You can see his eyes are not entirely level. He's going cross-eyed, and one is floating off in the opposite direction, and he leans back and presses his hand to his head as though nursing a headache. How long have I been out?
This is the second day, man.
Oh, I saw such things.
It's been like maybe 36 hours.
Into the second day.
Yeah. Hasn't been a full 2 days.
2.5 days. No, it's been 2.5 days. Because he got out, it was about...
What happened with the cultists?
They left us some pixie dust and took off. I think we left their land, so I don't think it's a big deal anymore.
For now.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't feel right keeping it so. guys have it. I don't want it around here.
Do you know what all we can use it for? I thought we could enchant stuff, but I don't know what else we can do with pixie dust.
It's useful for casting arcane spells of the enchantment variety. It also produces different effects, depending on who it's sprinkled on and a little bit of the will of the Fae. It can be very weird.
That makes
Strange
sense.
things happen.
Are you gonna be okay? You look like my buddy Torque does after a night at the tavern.
Stretches his hand out, and the vomit that was on the ground, he begins casting prestidigitation, like 1 foot by 1 foot area. And is just sitting there, like, cleaning it up. I will be regular shortly. And he runs his hands over his robe and his beard, and the streaks of spittle and food stuff disappear.
Oh,
His robe's
one
straight.
one other thing. That chest under your bed was making some weird noise, so we fed whatever was in the weird glass thing a good berry, and it settled back down.
Really?
Yeah.
It was making noise?
Yeah, it was like jumping and thumping against the bottom of the bed.
Well, that's of no concern. Sometimes it makes strange noises like that. It's not a big deal.
What is that?
It's a small aquarium, a token from a civilization that may or may not have been submerged. It's not particularly important. It's of no particular value or use or significance.
No value?
No.
Can we have it?
Can I get some
No.
alcohol?
It's sentimental.
No.
I like to collect things for my travels. Anyway. Well, we should continue with our travels and with our studies. I'm going to get to work repairing the closure to the Airy that I closed whenever the cultists came on board. Probably take me about a day in order to finish it up. Do you need anything that's urgent before I begin work on this?
I think we're good for now. In the morning, we might need some food. I mean, we've just been surviving on berries for now.
Indeed, indeed. And he strokes his long beard. I feel like it's a cabbage and herring sort of evening, don't you?
Sounds delicious.
I agree. We'll deal with that in a few hours. I have to work on this now. He goes about casting prestidigitation all over the mess that he's made in himself. Spends the rest of the afternoon working on setting everything right from having fallen unconscious.
Can we?
Every now and again you hear he kind of gibbers little fragments of speech to himself. Kind of like he's working out a conversation or attempting to recall something that he saw while he was in the coma. And he wasn't all there to begin with, and he sure as hell ain't all there right now.
That's fair.
So what would you guys like to do while he's working on cleaning up?
Can you try teaching me that theory again, but in any way like related to how like the thieves' cant is so convoluted, and this theory seems really convoluted. Is there any way you can find a relation between the two?
Magic
Maybe
is
so that
nothing
it's
like learning another language.
A little more relatable.
I'll
I mean,
talk
you have to
real
read
slow
it,
this
and you have to
time.
write it into a book, so there's some kind of language there. There's something to it that's understandable.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
And I'll take notes this time.
Mhm.
Sorry about yesterday.
Okay. Let's begin.
Okay, there's your
Pen
charisma
and
check
paper.
and intelligence check.
What are you telling him? I want to hear it. Say things.
Fucking damn it.
11.
I'm not meant to learn this stuff.
You guys are
Wait, what's he supposed to be rolling?
charisma.
Charisma.
Oh, okay.
You guys are distracted by the mutters and babbling of Zephyros. As you are trying to instruct him, you hear just every now and again a random voice in the background will go, 9 branches and 9 roots. Gigantic fleas on the scales.
What do you think he means?
If you knew magic, you would know.
Oh,
Explain
my
it to me.
God.
Just explain it to me.
I just tried.
You're not a good teacher.
It is a very frustrating afternoon.
At least
for all of
11.
you. Gabrielle, as you are done working with Shiny, you can see that that part of the area that had been closed off previously, where you could walk down onto the second level, you can see there's some movement and some cloud shifting there. You figure someone's probably working on it.
He must be up.
Go ahead and set the DC for your watch tonight.
Sure. What, is it just straight 20?
Perception.
Just straight perception.
17.
17. It's a little more obvious this time, maybe around 1 or 2 in the morning. There's something in the distance. It's large, winged, and 6 ropes seem to follow behind it, each dragging what looks to be a rod. And it circles up and dives back down, and then it heads off to the west, towards a valley that you can see between 2 large peaks. At this distance, it could almost be a gigantic kite or something with streamers off the back of it. But it would have to be an enormous kite, and the streamers would have to be the size of logs. This goes on for maybe 15-20 minutes, with it performing this dance just at the perimeter of your vision, illuminated by the moonlight. And then it flies off to the west and disappears down the road.
And how long was the same valley and those peaks, were those present yesterday at
Mhm.
last night's watch? Okay.
The landscape has remained consistent.
Okay.
Okay.
And that was the first time I really saw that within my periphery?
That's the first time that you remember being able to make out the shape of it.
Okay.
And knowing for sure, yeah, there's something moving out there.
Okay.
It's not my mind penetrant. Sure enough, 6 bells in the morning. Day 7 begins. You almost instinctively, are you staying at the top of the tower, or are you going down? What are
I'm
you
gonna
doing?
look and see if it's open. Is it open again?
Not yet.
Okay. So it's off that.
Stay at the top of the tower. Okay. You.
I do this time though. Whenever y'all come out, I do holler down to what I've seen the last couple nights. I'm like, sorry, I didn't tell you yesterday, but there's some sort of kite or airship or large creature or something, and it keeps diving down into that. It seems like it's tracking us. And there's six. What I saw was 6 ropes or something off of it. So I'm not sure what that
I like
means.
Maybe shoot it next time.
It was very. I could shoot it, maybe.
Just shoot it.
No. No.
Same thought.
Fine.
I don't know if we need the good berries anymore. He fed me some herring last night, so that was
he's not.
good.
I see the clouds are stirring.
Oh
so-
yeah, watch out. He's trying to open the
So,
top of that again.
I'm yelling, but there should be a flat portion and then whatever I'm not sure exactly
It was stairs.
Yeah.
Don't stand where the opening is.
What?
There's a giant-sized staircase that leads up to the airy, and it had been covered over with this cloud stuff material.
Okay.
And you can see it's almost like it's roiling, like the top of a thunderhead.
And it's still being worked out. Okay.
It's still solid.
All right.
This stuff is kind of irritating because just looking at it, it should be vapor, but it's a solid stand on a drop.
I snuggle in with Shiny and go to bed.
You go to bed. Go ahead and set the DC for your morning watch shift.
Yeah.
What's that say?
19.
25.
25. You are super aware.
You have-
Hyper vigilant. The cold in the air puts all 6 of your nipples on point. And
All of them.
yeah, you are feeling it. You go find more stuffing, and you're stuffing it into your already.
Trying to I've noticed that there's lumps, and I'm trying to make them like a little more rounded at this point.
Yeah.
I just want to be like that big puffy, what is that, Christmas Story, where the kid can't even move his jacket? That's what I'm trying to do
Yeah.
now.
You are hating the cold.
Yeah.
It is visibly colder now. You can actually see the landscape is beginning to arc up as you guys are getting closer to the mountains. And the terrain is becoming craggy and barren. And in different areas you can see herds of reindeer and elk moving across the surface. Rivers are becoming more common and wide and vicious. Off to the far west, you can see the first icebergs and remnants of the Great Glaciers that move south. Yeah, so as you guys wake up for breakfast, he's on watch, the two of you are in the afternoon. What would y'all like to do?
Let's go see what Zephyros is up to.
It's morning.
Yep.
I get a thing.
Zephyros is up, moving around. He goes, how do you feel about yam pancakes
Yes, please.
for breakfast?
That's great. I was thinking about some morning reading material.
Such as?
Do you have any? So I come from a different land,
Mm.
and I know what most herbs look like, but I ain't real familiar
Yes.
with the Faerun. I've been here a couple of years, maybe. You got any books that help me like find like what kind
Yeah,
of
45
areas like bloodgrass usually grows around the bases
I don't know
of
what you need.
trees,
I have that.
and hibiscus, silver hibiscus.
Ecology of plants is in fact an area of intense interest of mine. I would be willing to help you work on some of that. If you would like to come over here, I can show you some of the more interesting flora of our particular coast.
Okay. I mean, like if I see a river, it's gonna be likely to have this type of herb, and help me find the herbs I'm looking for.
Let's settle down. He reaches over and extends his hand, and this enormous 3-foot by 4-foot book begins to move off of the bookshelf. And as it comes and rests on his study desk, it opens. And you can see in these gigantic pages of parchment, there's notes scribbled at the borderline, and there's diagrams of different plants and how they look in different stages of bloom,
I like
and how
this.
to identify things by color based on what season of the year things are. Go ahead and make a survival check for me.
18.
18. Yeah, you are picking up what he's putting down. You guys spend the whole morning basically dissecting the intricacies of herbs and how they grow and interact, particularly putting emphasis on where you're going in Bryn Shander and more mountainous and tundra-like terrain. How to know which mosses are safe, which ones are poisonous, how to know which grasses might contain certain elemental properties. Yeah. What are you doing while he's working on that?
I go up to Zephyros and ask him, how would you like to buy some gems?
What's
Depending on how I believe we have had this conversation already, are they magical gems?
Not yet. Certainly they will be once you've done something.
He did that. Yeah, he gave us some message gems.
I have all the gems that I could possibly need for the small purposes that I use.
Do you have gold?
We're going to a trade town.
Unfortunately, I do not.
Okay.
Gold is of
That's
precious
unfair.
little use to me.
Okay.
I have sandals and robes and a few trinkets which remind me of my travels.
I have a meta question. I heard you say something about 18 earlier when rolling on. Did anything happen, or am I getting closer
No,
to?
Nothing.
Okay, so I would need to do it again tomorrow and
You
roll
don't.
again.
You don't know yet.
All right.
Okay.
So Torque is not satisfied with the
Not
knowledge.
satisfied. You feel like you're making really good progress. you are
But I'm not
satisfied.
like I still need to get my hands on this book. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
I get you.
I'm just gonna wander the library aimlessly.
Okay. Roll percentile dice for me. Lower is better.
66.
66. You spend most of the morning gathering random facts, things like that. In the books that you can understand, you study everything from the erotic poetry history of dwarves to orcish cuisine to student loan and debt repayment amongst gnomish society, something that you frankly weren't even aware of happened because you weren't dumb enough to take out student loans to go to the Tower Arcane.
Obviously.
You were given a scholarship. I mean, they saw a lot of potential in it. It brings up a bit of
I know.
raw memories for you, though, thinking about education and thinking about how everything had happened there. You left with a bit of a bad taste in your mouth. Yeah. Thinking back on college, you're like, Okay. You were on watch. You and Zephyros are studying. You're sleeping. You're gonna. Afternoon comes around. You take over watch. Make a perception check. You wake back up. What are you doing?
I just kind of looked. Is the staircase open?
It is not yet.
Okay. I holler down to Torque whenever he comes around. He'll will you go get Bubble just in case
Who?
I fall to my death? Bubble,
Who's that?
are you serious? Are you okay?
Yeah?
Do you need some more sleep?
No.
The wizard, the tall, half giant gnome
Bobble.
Bubble.
I guess I know him.
Okay, thank you.
Go in there
Yes.
and grab him by the back of the shirt and hoist him up, and walk him outside and point up at the group. And then I start marching around. I rolled a 21 for perception.
Yeah, you can see all of this. This is no problem.
Use your words next time. Okay.
I ran out. I used all my words for the day, and I'm borrowing them from tomorrow by talking to you right now.
7 again. That's my lucky number.
Roll percento.
Okay. This will be okay.
Lower is better.
Lower is better? 7%?
7%.
7%.
Yeah, you hardly even slip at all. You reach the area where Bobble's Featherfall takes off. Once again, there's an explosion of pastel and neon feathers. They're swirling around you like something out of Pocahontas, and you just delightfully descend to the floor of the Cloud Giant structure. Okay. And as the three of you all go inside, what do you guys decide to do for your afternoon?
You gonna try this one more time?
I do want to try one more time, but I also wanted to let you know that we do have pixie dust, and you're getting pretty familiar with this library. I don't know if you can find anything on it.
Okay. I'll have a look around.
Okay, but I do.
Why don't you hand me the pixie dust?
All right, you go, man.
So is he getting 2 attempts at stuff? Is he getting 2 attempts? No.
I'm getting one because I have sleep and watch. He doesn't have a watch, so he gets to do 2 things.
Ah, gotcha. Why aren't you pulling your weight? I'm not talking to you. I'm outside.
Okay.
Because I don't. Wouldn't that make it easier for you to pull it?
I'm pulling far more than my wife.
Okay. All right, try this one more time.
I want something that lasts for like 8 hours.
11.
11?
Once again.
8.
8? You guys are talking past one another, man. It just ain't happening. You start to think maybe you guys are better friends than students or peers or comrades. Yeah.
You need pictures, huh?
They definitely help.
Okay.
They definitely help.
You begin making flashcards.
Like, I understand. I understand things, but I am not getting this. Arcane symbols are just confusing as all hell.
As evening falls, Zephyros, you can tell he's got the majority of the hole is open now. It's just kind of finishing out the details and reshaping the transitions and stuff like that. You, as you're on watch, walk around the back side of the Cloud Castle as you guys are inside minding your own business. And you see, as you turn the corner, something that wasn't there on your last pass. There is a red-skinned man with horns sitting in what appears to be a lawn chair with a old bamboo cane fishing pole fishing over the edge of the castle. He turns and gestures to you and goes, and that's where we'll pick up after the break. You ready?
I say infernal. This fellow looks infernal.
He's
He's
making
got
an
horns.
insight check.
You say red?
Red
horns,
skinned man with horns.
Completely red skin.
Told you shh, and is
He
fishing
shushed
off the
you.
side
A grown
of the
man.
cloud.
I don't think
I don't know what he's
I
fishing
need
for.
to make an insight check. Torque would just assume.
Torque has assumed he's infernal.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he says in infernal, "Hey, what you fishing for there, buddy?" And he's gonna walk up.
Is Infernal still rednecky? That's what I want to know.
I have an accent. You ain't never heard me.
Deep south.
Low in the color there.
Deep
Listen,
south.
listen up here. I'm gonna speak some Spanish to you here, and this is how my infernal sounds, but this is gonna be Spanish. La única manera en que pude salir del infierno estaba ir con el diablo, okay? Pues.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's,
All right, so that's how my
alright.
infernal sounds.
He turns to you and he kind of cocks his head and he looks at it. And he replies in a language that you don't understand. And then he looks at you and says, how about we just speak common?
All right.
He continues
Did you
fishing.
just check if you speak common?
No.
Did you like look down real quick?
Oh no! I did not have to check.
As he
I told him, like, do I speak common? Wait, I just understood him. Yeah, I speak common.
As he points over the edge, you see that he has this silver fishing line that ends in a silver hook that he seems to be dragging back and forth through the air. Pauses for a moment.
What you fishing for?
Jerks the edge of it, and seeming to appear out of nowhere, there is a small green eye that he plucks out of the air. Reaching out, grabs.
Do you know what that is?
Go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Natural
Okay.
20.
You know that he has just located a scry spell.
What?
Drags it up, clutches it, stares in the eye of it, and snaps it shut in his hand. As he opens his clawed hand, a fine green dust just seems to be carried off.
Is that somebody spying on us?
You seem to have attracted quite a bit of attention, and that's not the only one that's moving around.
Right on. Why are they looking at us?
Well, I mean, it could be because you're on a 200-foot tall wizard's castle flying over the land.
I mean, that.
Same reason I'm looking at you, because you've moved through the territory of some very important people.
Who are you?
You can call me Klauth.
Klaus. Is that like?
I have many names.
Are you German with a lisp?
No, just Klauth, with a snarl.
Klaus. Can't.
I can tell you think you're very funny.
Klaus.
Alright, Klaus. What you doing here? Hey, how come you're on here? If they's looking at us and then you's looking at us, who's?
Well, I came to ask you a bit of a favor.
Okay.
See, you've been going through a lot of territory that's important to a lot of people.
Okay.
I'm assuming on your way going northbound.
We're just taking,
Um,
we're just, just transport. We ain't causing no kind of problems or nothing.
Sure.
Why is everybody looking at us? Just because they don't like us flying over their territory?
Giant castle, giants have been up to some
Makes sense.
untasteful things.
Yeah,
for
I get you.
distasteful. So, and as he turns his face, you can see he has these 3 large scars that seem to run down the left side of his face and disappear down into the shirt that he's wearing. No armor, just plain clothes.
I would like to do a military assessment of this gentleman.
Sure, go ahead and make an insight check.
18.
Looks like a perfectly harmless, well-dressed humanoid man who's absent-mindedly fishing with a gold fishing line off of a giant's cloud castle. Nothing unusual about this.
With an 18?
I absolutely want you to start calling them ocular pat downs, please. Please. Please.
Okay.
Binocular pat down.
All right.
He is not a third.
Time for an ocular pat down.
And he does not seem to be armed with any weapons. You notice no daggers, swords, spears, halberds.
Now, how come you got your eye on us? Why are you looking at us? And why are
Because
you?
I'll answer your question. You're about to fly into my veil over here.
Okay.
And so I need you guys to make just a small detour and go that way over Mira.
That's up to Damascus. We ain't flying this thing. We ain't got no
I
idea.
need you to go ask him.
Come with us.
You ain't here. It's just
Yeah,
me.
we're
I was on
inside.
patrol.
You are terribly
I was on
trying to
patrol
teach
and
me
Oh, really?
Arcana.
You're bad at teaching him.
And I'm bad at learning.
When you do inform me of this interaction, I will be upset you didn't come get me earlier.
He stands up and just throws the fishing pole over the edge.
Well, I had my question.
Picks up the lawn chair, throws it over the edge.
You come. How come you? I had a question. How come you stopping other people looking at us?
Oh, there's all sorts of interests in this particular area,
And
some
you-
of which align with mine, some of which don't.
I need. Why don't you come inside with me?
Not gonna happen. I need you to go inside and convince them to go about 2 miles over there, over Mirabar, and not 2 miles over there where you guys are.
What happens if we
Just
pass
a little
over your
closer.
territory?
That would be quite unfortunate for both of us.
Why? If we're just passing through, if we ain't causing no trouble.
See, there's certain things about my territory that if you fly over it might reveal certain information that I wish to keep secret. Also, I have no guarantee that anything that you see while you're in my territory, you're going to keep your mouth shut about. So, this is a courtesy call.
Well, you ain't being very polite for a courtesy call.
This is exceptionally polite by my standards.
Well, then why would I want to do anything for you? I'm reaching to my, I'm just kind of like, I'll stand military stance, I'm gonna reach into my pouch, I'm gonna crush that message stone and send him a message that I have a situation.
Okay.
Okay. You asking me to come out there?
All I get is I have a situation.
Situation? Okay. I'm going to inform Zephyros there's a situation outside that you might want to check on.
Zephyros, who's working on
Well, go and check it out. Report back to me.
Okay.
How many message stones do I have now? You gave me one.
No
I
one
got
would
two.
want to bother us. We're not causing any trouble. I'm just working on this cloud stuff here. I'm a mime and a bomb.
Can't you send a message back to him?
I'm going to, after I walk outside, take a look
Two
for
message
myself.
stones. I have
Okay.
one message stone.
So, it takes you a little bit of time in order to get down from the second story and walk out. As this is going on, this gentleman who's identified himself as Cloud, as he's standing up now, you see these scars. He's also, his skin is scaly and tightly interlocked, almost serpentine in a lot of ways. And
But you said I thought he looked human.
he's human,
You know what?
humanoid.
Oh, okay.
You can still have scaly skin.
Anyway, that's really all I came to ask. Just to let you know that you've attracted attention, and to ask you kindly to fly over that way.
No, you just said it different. See, I'm more inclined now to go ask him to fly
Good.
somewhere else.
I'm glad that we've reached an understanding.
All you had to do was use your manners.
There we go. Now,
All right.
I'll be running along. You guys have a wonderful time.
Wait, what else can
Fun
you
luck.
fish up out of the air?
He reaches into his shirt and pulls out a small wand. He taps it, flicks it a couple of times, and spins it, throws it out, and you see about 3 of these green orbs all of a sudden shatter that had all been watching you.
Why didn't
What's
you
the
do
one?
that before I asked you?
Not my business.
So,
That's your problem.
okay, well, you just pulled that one. So you didn't care about these other 3, but you cared about that one?
I don't care about any of them. I care about you going 2 miles that way. And he walks over to the edge and drops off.
You just
I have an outside
took the
question.
one and then told me.
Isn't there supposed to be a DC
For?
being inscribed upon?
Yes.
They're
There it
just
is.
entirely too high for us to even bother with.
Well enough.
Okay.
I'm level 4.
These are like nations trying to have anti-airspaces.
Yeah.
Essentially, what's going on
You're
right now.
dealing with the Syrian no-fly zone here. Yeah.
All right. Well, he didn't come out in time, I'm guessing. And so I'll turn back
As you walk out, you see him staring over the edge. You watch as this guy just falls.
Okay.
You lose sight of him as he disappears into the tree line.
It's baller.
Bye.
As
Such a
you
strong flex right there.
turn around, you see Bobble emerging from the front door. Behind you.
What's the situation?
Yeah, you took too long. I'm gonna go inside.
Okay.
I will go up to the giant,
Yes.
tell him that there was a red scaly type man with some horns. He said we're about to fly over his territory, and if we flew over, we were going to see his secrets, and he didn't like it. And he was pulling scrying eyeballs out of the air.
That's not entirely unusual. I mean, we're in a 200-foot tall castle. There's probably all sorts of telescopes trained on us right now.
Well, he said we needed to fly like 2 miles this one way I don't care. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you're the driver here.
It would add a little time to our trip, but do you think we should?
I mean, I kind of wanted to punch him, but I feel like it'd be a bad idea.
What about you, gnome wizard?
I say we fly through it. You've done this before. I mean, you normally get people coming up here to tell you to change your course.
Every now and again, people come up and request things of me, but it is highly unusual.
What kind of secrets do you think he's got?
Over that particular area over there, that valley between those two mountains, he wants us to stay away from there?
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
know, I've never flown that
Isn't
particular
that
route
where you saw
before.
that winged creature?
Creature or it was very large and there were ropes, so maybe like an airship?
But it was, how far away were we?
It was at least, it was well beyond just my normal vision, so it was about 3/4 of a mile. That was just last night.
What was his name?
Clout.
Hey, Zephyros, what type of a name is Clout? It's made up, isn't it?
His already pale skin grows much paler. His beard rolls up at the ends. And he walks over to the navigation orb and twists the rings on it, and you feel the whole thing kind of begin to lurch inside.
Okay. Well, that answers that.
There's that.
You will teach me the beard trick later.
We should move with trepidation, proceeding forward.
Okay.
If we are going over Mirabar airspace, we will no doubt attract attention of the Council of Broken Stones.
Would they have been the ones that were scrying?
Many people are probably scrying. Dragons have been on high alert since the Ordning was shattered.
Do you think that Clouth was a dragon form?
Clout is a dragon.
Oh, a
One of the
dragon.
oldest and most vicious in this
Oh.
line of the world.
That makes
Oh.
sense. Wow, I still thought he was a human with an 18.
Exciting.
What was Mirabar?
Also, they can shapeshift.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What is? How do you spell Mirabar?
Mirazqlm.
I'm meta questioning.
B-A-R.
I'm asking the DM.
M-I-R-A-B-A-R.
Okay.
Draw attention from council.
A broken stone.
All he had to do was be honest.
That is not his modus operandi.
Well, I'm gonna have to find him and kill him at level 20.
Good luck.
I'll have
Many
friends.
have tried and many have failed.
Well, I got a new goal.
Old
I
Snarl.
don't like when people lie to me.
Old Snarl is known for attacking villages while dragging massive wands behind him, firing off lightning bolts as he strafes across villages.
Did you hear that? He just said he's a better wizard than you. You gonna stand for that?
You said he's called
You
Old
misheard.
Snarl? I'm
Old
guessing
Snarl.
he's seen a few wars.
His horde is rumored to be one of the largest of all the worms of the north.
You think he knows how to start wars?
He has probably started and finished more wars than any individual worm.
Call him back. Questions?
If you come out quicker.
He's known for his combination of brutality and cunning in both battle and diplomacy.
You know how to start a war?
He is also
Spit on him.
He's also
Okay.
known
If
to
you
have
wanna
made
start a
it
war.
with the crazy white dragon Arviatris from the far western edge of the glacier. I
So we-
hesitate to think whatever kind of insane spawn would have come of that union.
I'm guessing we just added a couple days to our trip.
In all likelihood.
That's
The
fine.
air currents
I'm
are
having a good time here. It's pretty
not as
hospitable.
favorable.
You like those yam pancakes?
Amphiaratrus?
Arviatris.
Yeah, we'll say I spelled that
She
correctly.
rides with the desiccated body of her former master and a saddle upon her back. She speaks to it.
What's his guy's name? Is that for us?
I'm just not good with names, man.
If he has taken an interest in us, we should be careful.
Okay,
Sounded
well,
like his
remember-
interest
I-
was that we stay away.
I'm okay being here a couple more days. You're real hospitable, Zephyros.
I'm glad we are enjoying each other's company.
You've got those yam pancakes and that book you was.
I was thinking today maybe we do pistachio curd topped salmon with
Mm,
char.
kind of char.
Salmon sounds good. I'm in.
Indeed.
Yeah, let's look at that book again. That was on my watch.
That was on your watch. So the other three were awake.
Okay.
Are you calling them all together to inform them of the details?
Well, yeah, I kind of figured that I would have been. I thought they were in the same room. If not, I would have probably just.
So you guys all get briefed on this. You discuss the afternoon's events. You eat dinner and prepare for third watch. Gabby, feeling well rested, a little bit perturbed. How are you taking watch?
Well, I still had the afternoon to do something.
You
So-
guys spent it catching up and going over details before having a large dinner. Sorry.
Yes.
Events.
Okay.
Can I? No, I'm gonna butt in real quick. You let me try with him one more time to do Arcana during the same daytime before we took our break. So if she didn't do anything that day, she should get to do something.
Okay, you've convinced me.
Thank you. I just want to read more about like the politics of Icewind Dale.
The politics of Icewind Dale? Sure, you take a little time and you learn the basic politics of Icewind Dale being these 10 individual cities. Bryn Shander essentially being the de facto capital. There's others like Hundlestone and Fireshear are other well-known outposts. Basically, each individual city is a fort. If it's under attack, the sheriff is going to take over. The speaker is the head of political life. The sheriff is the head of military life. In times of attack, all the population of the 10 towns can all actually be contained within Bryn Shander. 30-foot high walls, incredibly well-armed, well-trained militia. Not world-class, not as good as some of the other outfits that you've heard of that operate out of Neverwinter or Baldur's Gate, but certainly capable town guard, a cut above your average, glorified spearman that you would run into.
So the mayor, how does he fall within that hierarchy?
The speaker's name is Duvessa Shane,
Okay.
and she is from a rich family and has mostly reached her position through a combination of cunning, diplomacy, and maintaining a good relationship with the merchants throughout the city. The sheriff, Markham, whose sister, Samil, you guys were asked to deliver him the news of her passing. There's not a lot of details on Markham, other than he's from the south originally. From what you can gather about Samil, she was dark-skinned, and they were from the border of Am and Cormyr. So you figure something had to happen, either a military career or something, for him to end up that far north.
Okay, so there's not really words about him, but it's possible that he did have a military background.
It's possible.
We're gonna be good friends.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right.
Is the stairwell open?
The stairwell is now.
I go up and I greet Shiny and I take the watch.
Greet Shiny and you take your watch. They're bedding down for the evening, as griffins are predominantly diurnal. They sleep at night. And make a perception check. Set your DC.
What I got?
18.
18.
Plus, I think 2.
Is that the new thing to do?
Yeah.
Show you guys
Stole
all
it.
across the table?
Heck yes. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Now I know how Fifi feels about it.
Everything passes without event. You see nothing moving. Nothing unusual, no large
I've
shapes.
got more eyes looking for scrying and orbs and whatnot now too, so.
Now that you're aware of them, you think you occasionally see things.
If I see anything that I know is for sure a scrying eye, I'm gonna shoot it.
What was your perception again?
It's 20.
Yeah, you're not.
It's,
You're not in the same realm. This is stuff that's over your
This
league.
is entire nation's scrying. It's not CIA, but whatever we have that's even more covert.
You're dealing
The ones we don't know about.
with
Yeah.
the wizard NSA is what you're dealing with.
Watching us.
Which is, just to point out, the idea that he could just pluck one out of the air,
next level.
Yeah.
He fished for it.
Let's kill him.
Yeah. You're talking
I think there's plates
meta.
like 3.
You're talking like DC 30, DC 35.
Mr. Lampkin, you're gonna have to sign.
Yeah, no problem.
How you doing,
Good,
sir? Good.
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing very well.
How you doing?
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Oh boy, so much stuff. Fifi!
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Have a good night.
Are we just leaving this here or we're packing out?
You will bring it to us.
What was Kelvin's Cairn again?
Kelvin's Cairn is the gigantic burial mound that forms the
Holy crap, he
basis
did.
for
Thank you.
Icewind Dale, what it's built on.
A
This one's
burial
fried.
mound.
Yep. The
They're
whole
all-
city is built
they're all
on
fried.
an old
Oh,
burial
okay, that's
mound.
not- I like fried.
Any religious affiliation associated with said burial mound?
No, but you do find out that there's what is called the Temple of the Triad within the city, which is a temple that is dedicated to the three gods Tyr, Torm, and Ilmater, who are the three lawful good deities of justice, war, lawful war, and persistence or martyrdom is Ilmater's domain.
So happy with the crispy beef.
Yep. So as the night ends, everything goes on. I'm going to eat a jalapeno egg roll, and we'll be back in a minute. Be thinking about what you want to do next.
肚子，我的肚子好痛啊！
Good.
不知道，
Thank you.
不知道吗？
Cat,
好吃啊
seriously. I'll
She
show
needs
him
a
like
spoon.
2 seconds.
That was not fair at all.
I got one. I got Chinese spoon. Chinese spoon. 知道，
Yeah.
我好知
That's
道
your，dim sum spoon.
不知道吗？我好知道啊。在说什么？怎么让你相信，充满你的心，比我的心。
So you get everything on this Twitch channel.
Alright, so, for the sake of metagaming, y'all tell me what you guys want to do over the next 2 days.
A, when I'm on watch, since now I realize it's a thing, I want to look down and see what we're passing over and see if I can figure anything out. B, if Dwayne's still interested, I would like to continue to try and learn Arcana.
I'm going to start charging you.
See if
Okay,
there's like a book for it.
No.
He's got lots of books.
that's fair.
And it might be an easier read than a.
Me and Emir are gonna go hard on that herb
You
book.
look at mirror?
Emir,
He can't remember Zephyros' name to save his life.
I can't remember anybody's name. to
Okay,
save my
so
life.
you're occupying his morning slot in order to do herb research?
Emir, Zephyros.
Okay.
Zephyros has a morning slot.
Yeah, Zephyros has a morning and afternoon slot.
Okay.
20 was the perception.
Okay. You're going on
Dirty,
here.
not clean. Oh, it's crispy beef. Love it. It's delicious.
肚子。
I wish I could find it in other places.
I didn't know I needed jalapeno egg rolls in my life until today. Oh man.
I'm happy that you know it now.
This chicken has hints of
Noodle.
Maine,
Maine?
and the noodles have a little bit of low to them.
Okay.
This orange chicken tastes vaguely of nectarines.
This chicken tastes like a color.
This is Mandarin orange, not just orange.
肚子。
Fried rice, a little disappointing. Fried rice could have a lot more flavor.
Sour chip's good.
Well, it only has egg, not full miracle.
I have a
There.
sodium deficiency.
Just so happy to have them.
I'll at least tell people I do because I like salt that much.
You can tell you guys have been diverted from over the wild area. You're now moving over trails and logging roads and mine shafts, and you can see carts and everything. You're now flying over civilization instead of flying across forests and crag and tundra.
Well, I mean, okay. First morning,
This is like day 8.
Yes.
first morning, I want to do the book again. If I successfully
Mm-hmm.
do the herbalism with him, if I feel like I can get enough out of it, I'm gonna try to deadlift that table again on the next
All right.
piece.
For your morning session,
Mm.
go ahead, because you really only have one a day, because you also have your lunch. For your morning session, go ahead and make a survival check.
Whoops.
12.
Oh, it's 17.
I'm sorry, it's a 12.
15.
15? Yeah, second good day of study in a row. You have an advantage on survival checks that occur in mountain or tundra environments.
Nice.
I was doing this to up my herbalism abilities.
Which is a survival roll, isn't it?
No, it's an herbalism kit
Okay,
roll.
you have an advantage. You have advantage
On my herbalism kit rolls?
Herbalism kit rolls in mountain or tundra.
Okay. Which would exclude me from like, because like I don't want it to apply to survival as well. So like if you're like track this
Just
dude.
herbalism rolls.
Yeah. So if you're like check that dude, I want to track this guy. I want advantage on that.
Okay, that's what you get. Are you trying to? He's working with the giant in the morning. So what are you doing?
You give our stupid cat person another shot here at this magic thing.
That's in the evening.
That's in the afternoon.
You said mountain tundra.
I would
You're
add that
coming
to your-
outside while I'm trying to watch shit. You have a full shift to do whatever the hell you want.
I'm gonna take some time and put together some picture books. Maybe I get advantage from helping them.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
this is a fire.
This is what it does to your fur.
I don't like this lesson anymore. I don't
So-
even care if you just deep fry it till there's nothing left over.
You spend your morning slot and you prepare lesson plans for dealing with radiant dust. You get out a felt board and you make little cutouts. So you have like little felt arrangements. You make flashcards. You have somehow you produce a chalkboard and you manage to write like diagrams on it.
Through
Stuff like
magic, I'm guessing. I don't understand how, but he's done it.
Through the magic of chalk. Yes. So yeah, you absolutely do that. You're sleeping.
In the afternoon, and then in the evening,
And
just.
you're sleeping in the morning.
Yes, and then the afternoon, just Zephyr has another segment of time.
Yes, the afternoon segment is open.
Griffins.
You want to work on the griffins? Okay. Animal handling check. You guys are together for the afternoon session, day 8. Go ahead and make your charisma and intelligence check with advantage because of the glory of lesson plans.
There's a syllabus this time.
19.
13.
19 and 13. Yes. With the help of flashcards, you were able to discern some of the basics
God, finally.
of, we're not going to call it arcane theory, we're going to call it the critical theory. As you begin to grasp critical theory, you understand your place in the world a little bit better. You understand your role and how everything intersects with one another. You understand the privileges that come along with being a mage. And even as a rogue, you begin to relate to that better. And as you check yourself, you begin to understand Arcana more. Your Arcana bonus increases by 1.
Finally.
19.
Okay.
Took me a
19
long
in
time.
animal handling. This is the first day with Zephyros standing there, watching like a proud papa. You take your first ride on a griffin. You take
Yay.
off. Out, he coaxes you from the edge of the area and taking out through these large archways. The griffin spreads its wings and drops for just a few feet before the air catches, moving over the pinions, and he banks into a turn. You hold on to the horn of the saddle. He flies around the crown. After about an hour, the griffin, having gone up and down and around and everything, takes you back and seems tired. He's not quite used to being ridden. And so he's more worn out than you are. You're exhilarated. Just the feeling of air moving over your body, of the sheep onesie flapping behind your bomber jacket, the feel of feathers and fur brushing up against your legs as you bounce along in the saddle. It's intense. It really is. It's incredibly dangerous. They're hard to control. Little bit surly on more than one occasion. You thought your emotion needed to go right, Shiny pulled left, but overall an incredibly successful afternoon. And as you land, Zephyros just has this beaming look of pride on his face.
Awesome.
You can tell he's experiencing joy vicariously through you because, I mean, he can't ride a griffin, he'd crush it.
Awesome. Yay.
Okay, go ahead and set your DC for your afternoon watch. I don't know how well you do.
This is
Perception?
day 7 or day 8?
Perception. This is day
13.
8. 13.
I'm too excited thinking about
You-
herbs and shit.
Too excited to think about herbs. You're a little thrown off by like, dude, I just got like, I've seen 2 dragons in the last week. This is a little weird. Why are these dragons like trying to interact with me? Like, what's going on? What have I got myself into? So yeah, that's day 8. I can't even make up something Zephyros makes up for dinner. He makes orange chicken for dinner.
I'm on watch. I don't have anything I can do, right?
You just got back from your Griffin flight. You guys are done with your lesson.
Thanks for these cards, man. I'm gonna hold on to them.
Okay, don't lose them.
Just keep looking through them. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, write that down. Deck of condescending flashcards.
Let me put it in my treasure card.
All right, day 9. Your shift passes fine. Go ahead and set your perception DC for me.
17.
17. Okay. You see 2 gargoyles flying in the night. They come too close, and for the first time in a long time, you're able to make out the shape of these stone monsters with these distorted faces. They come in and they leer at you. You make for a second eye contact with them. The moonlight glints off their stone skin. They turn around and they fly back towards the east. That happens at probably a little after 2 bells in the morning. But there's no question about it. You recognize them immediately. These are animated statues that have flown up towards you.
And when we made our detour, which direction did we go?
You guys went towards the east. So these were coming even further east than where you guys were.
Okay.
You guys were like heading up the coast, and so you went inland by a little bit, and something from even further inland. Go ahead and make a nature check.
Nope. Natural 1 plus 2. 3.
They headed to the east.
Awesome.
All right. Tell me your routine for the day so I can tell you what to roll.
Start of the day.
Start of the day. 6 bells in the morning.
I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna do like anywhere from a 20 to 45 minute physical calisthenics warm up till I feel like pumped, like I'm like perfect, like I'm in the zone. And I'm gonna try to deadlift that damn table.
Okay.
I'm gonna reach down.
Make a strength check.
Yeah, you know I'm about to work out.
Nice.
Strength, 23.
23.
Oh.
You lift the table. You feel your spine straightens. Every muscle and fiber of your being just burns as you heave this thing up. And then you hear as Leomund goes rolling off the edge of it.
I slowly set it back down.
Back down on the ground. As it makes contact with the ground, it doesn't even vibrate. It's almost like the cloud stuff just absorbs the sound and pressure.
I'm gonna see if I can get some catnip from him to go give to Leo.
You want from a cat?
I smoke it,
Oh.
like roll your own tobacco style. That's what I do with cat.
And I'm good.
I'm on watch first, so
Come on.
set a DC. 23.
Ooh. Okay.
And then, I mean, I've gotten most of what I want. I guess I will see if there is a book in common about the Council of Broken Stone.
Okay. Long story short, it's headed by Queen Dagnabbit, the
Yeah.
Dwarven Queen of Mirabar, predominantly Dwarven mining city. It's one of the last great remaining, above ground outposts. You'll also read about how doors, most of the great remnants of their empire are actually citadels, which are underground, entirely constructed cities beneath the earth. But of the ones that are on the surface, Mirabar is considered one of the most prestigious.
Do I know at all if there were any of the ones that were relocated after Waterdeep kind of took over the area that dwarves used to live in?
This would have been okay. So when the Dwarvish Empire actually fell and Waterdeep expanded, areas like Citadel Adbar, Citadel Sundabar, stuff like that, people were just thrown all over the place. Mirabar had kind of always been prominent because of its location along the Luskan River. It's a particularly ideal point to move out mining supplies to get them to the coast for shipment. And so it was already a big deal by the time Waterdeep began to encroach and the Dwarven empires fell.
Okay.
It's a very old place, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I get it, because I know how long ago they fell, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it started then or was around.
You would know that the Dwarvish empires of the north predate even the greatest cities of men by several thousand years.
Okay, cool. Thank
What are you doing, Bobble?
You got 2 slots, man.
Going stir crazy. I'm looking for books on how to kill time.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm gonna look for some books on dragons.
Books on dragons.
Mhm.
Anything in particular you'd like to know about dragons?
Yeah, what are their motivations? What do they want?
Okay. You know that the first and most obvious thing is predominantly dragons which are chromatic, which are green, white, black, red, and blue, tend to be orientated towards evil and greed and acquisition. Dragons which are metallic, your brass, your chromes, your silvers, your golds, or your brass, bronze, silver, gold, and
Platinum Dragon. Comet.
there's one other.
Bronze
Brass,
Copper.
bronze, and copper. Brass, bronze, copper, silver, and gold. Are all predominantly oriented towards good. What we would call the protection of civilization. They can be greedy and do occasionally break bad if their personal philosophy causes them to feel like civilization is in need of pruning.
Okay.
But for the most part, people, the appearance of a silver dragon or the appearance of a gold dragon is seen as incredibly beneficent side.
Okay.
And we've seen a red, or one we don't know his color, I guess. And
The
the one in
forgetful one?
town. No, what was the one in town?
Pelagolos?
Yeah.
It's brass dragon.
Brass gave me quality art.
Was it just a normal ball?
You know,
I don't know.
each of them, obviously, individuals are different, right? But think of it kind of like cultures, you know. Any Chinese American person that you meet is going to be an individual, but there are certain kind of large cultural similarities that you can draw. So gold dragons are known to be wise, quiet, and retired. Bronze dragons are known to be warlike, and they enjoy fighting for just causes and righteousness. Brass dragons tend to be a little bit goofy and prankstery. Red dragons, violent, cruel, brutal, prone to wrath. Green dragons, incredibly deceptive, clever. White dragons, bestial, violent, raw. Blue is almost like a mob boss. It wouldn't be unusual for a blue dragon to disguise himself as a human being, become mayor of a town, and rule the town like it's his horde. You know that they each have different environments and areas and predilections, but at the end of the day, any dragon is an individual.
Yeah, it's not enough.
You
Somebody
have one?
has no
Learned
force.
about dragons today.
Yeah. Any other particularly tidbit about dragons?
Say
that
back.
you'd like to know?
No, but I'm gonna ask Zephyros about my falling yard probably tomorrow.
Huh.
Alright, everybody who's left, roll a d20, and the lowest number doesn't get a fortune cookie.
17.
I get a 9.
I knew it was,
Dwayne, just roll a d20 for me.
Okay. I'll roll this one for a 7.
No fortune cookie for Dwayne.
no for me.
That's for her, she got a 3.
You should have punched Klaus in the teeth.
It's weird that it's that accurate. I like this fortune company. And I think you mispronounced it. It's clearly Klaus.
Klaus. A bold and dashing adventure is in your future within the year. I should have punched him in the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go. I can't seal my portrait.
You missed it. That tarot reading was trying to tell you something.
What was mine? I'm going for the adventure, right?
I don't know. You're gonna meet somebody wealthy.
Yeah. Riches were in my future. About to fund your transmogrification.
I'm supposed to look out. I'm supposed to have a keen mind. I picked that up. And, I'm going to make some kind of a sacrifice at some point.
That makes
No
sense.
price is too great.
Okay. Day number 9 coming to an end. Anything else?
My respectful others will be my success. So I guess I have to start respecting others.
That's right.
It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem, sir.
At the end of day 9, I just want to tell everybody how excited I am to get to Brain Shander.
I let everybody know that there were 2 gargoyles that flew past about 2 bells, and they flew to the east.
Flew to the east.
Well, we're going north. We'll be alright.
What happened when you shot me?
Been a little apprehensive just to shoot things because it seems like everything I look to shoot is pretty high above my league.
He's,
Aren't
he's
you level
definitely
4?
getting- He's definitely getting stir crazy. He
You
wants
can do
to-
just about anything you want.
Day 10. About 5 bells in the morning. Go ahead and set your DC, your perception DC there for your shift. Come on.
8. Go show.
Where are you taking your watch from?
Griffin. Avery.
Take a good man.
Not better. 7.
You hear the shattering of glass 4 times. You look down and you realize that your dark vision doesn't quite get you all the way to the base of the tower sufficiently. But you can see something large is underneath the tower. Something where even the base of this tower, which is probably about 40 feet, there's something underneath the tower. You have 60 seconds to tell me what you do.
I run down and I just start yelling at everybody. Zephyros, Dusty, Bubble, Tort, wake up, wake up. There's a giant monster underneath the tower.
You guys all hear this, and you wake up. You guys on the first floor, Zephyros on the second floor going, I do not know why the sparrows lick the kitties.
Sparrows don't have tongues.
Hey man, you know thieves can't.
Lark's tongue and aspic.
Isn't he?
They
Talking
speak in
about
thieves'
Robin
can?
I mean, it's still kind of.
Does that mean anything if you-
Would y'all stop philosophizing? It's time for
You
bed.
know that this is nonsense.
Okay.
He is suffering some residual effects from his. Contact
These
out.
two are philosophizing. I'm kicking out the front door, ready for battle.
As you run out the front door, as you open the door, all of a sudden, it's like this cloud of mist moves past you. It's like,
Steady myself. Take dodge.
okay. You are at the top. You've run down onto the second story. You've yelled. Zephyros is slowly rousing. Torque runs to the front, throws the front door open, and you can see this fine mist begins filling up the first level of the tower.
Gust.
And you also see Radiant Dusk and Bauble are down there. They are up on their feet looking around. Neither of them wearing armor. Torque not wearing armor.
What?
No,
Not through this. You're not sleeping that shit.
I have a neck, so that adaptation.
not if you want to recover. Not if you want to not take exhaustion. You don't.
Well, fine. Okay, instead of running and kicking open, I put on my damn armor.
You begin to put on your armor.
Yes.
Have you looked at the table about to see about how long it takes to put on heavy armor?
Doff
More than
that
60
shit.
seconds.
Dawn.
Doff that shit.
Doff
You
is
take it off.
Doff it in your big
Don.
I don it.
Dawn on. Doff off.
That's the stupidest semantics I've ever heard. Alright, I don my armor.
It takes about 10 minutes. So while you start grabbing that stuff and putting it on,
I'll put on my leather armor.
you put on your leather armor.
And my
it's like
fluffy
one
jacket.
minute.
Yeah.
You're throwing your stuff on. You can probably get your armor on time. You, however, notice that while they're putting their armor on, and you notice while they're putting their armor on, this mist congeals into 4 individual forms that just slowly rise through the aperture.
If he never opened the door, they come through the floor.
Oh no, since he already declared that, I'm assuming he went, opened the door, and then ran back and started putting his armor
Okay. I'm alright with it.
No, I'm in the door putting my armor on.
on. Okay, you're standing in the door putting your armor on?
I wouldn't have.
Hey man,
Yeah, I
sometimes you
should've
get
known.
woken up.
Sometimes it happens.
I should
You
have
get
known.
surprised.
So you benefit.
Uh,
Wait, how much?
You're standing on,
Chainmail is medium or heavy?
I believe it's about 10-15 minutes to put it on.
I'm looking at it. Chainmail is medium or heavy?
Chainmail would be heavy.
Okay, 10 minutes.
Yeah. So you're putting on your armor. You're putting on your armor. You see congealing on the second floor. You look up and see this also. These 4 individual clouds of mist separate out,
I think I'm about to give up on my armor.
pull themselves together, and you see 4 heavily armored shield doors standing there. Okay. So these 3 are on the first floor. You are on the second floor. Zephyros now, his eye shoots wide open. His enormous head turns and looks at you. I would like everybody to roll initiative.
Yay.
There's no way I'm getting my armor on in the middle of a battle.
Probably
Takes
not.
10 minutes. I'm giving up on it. Battle's like 1-2 minutes tops.
Help you put your armor on.
10 rounds of battle is 1 minute.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Oh.
How are you going last?
Still have my shield. I give
that?
up.
That's a big fat 1.
No.
You wake up 10 minutes before everybody else. From now on.
Guess time warp.
Time warp?
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Thought you were level 4.
Let's do the time. I'll teach you a few things about magic when we're done as well. Maybe you can sit on one of
Yeah,
your
we're gonna start
classes.
singing safety dance so that you know your safety.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
What's your armor class?
Without my armor,
And then you- yeah.
13 with the shield.
Oh, okay. I'll still allow you to take the hits.
It's lower than mine.
How
That's
have
like
I have
naked.
lost 6 armor class.
from your armor?
Yeah, that's about right for heavy. But on the bright side, you don't have disadvantage on stealth right now.
Always look on the sunny side, man.
Oh my god, that was wonderful. All right.
Thanks for letting us eat. If you're watching us, we appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm about to get upset.
You're gonna be fine.
You're already upset.
No, it's not.
Stop sleeping in the nude.
I tried.
It didn't feel right. He didn't heal up all the way. You remember those days?
What are the mechanical effects of me
You
becoming
you
large?
had something vicious.
You won't be doing it this fight.
You had like a D4.
No,
Okay.
D4 is for how long it lasts.
25 to 20.
For large?
For my attacks.
Yes, you had a D4 like damage. 24 to 20, you said?
25 to 20.
No, 25 to 20. That makes more sense.
Oh, I do have it on.
Okay.
Oh.
20 to 15.
15.
Okay. 15 to 10.
13.
10 to 5.
8.
Okay. Little hard cube.
Bobby?
Natural one with a 3 with my initiative.
Everybody gets a Y in all battles. I don't know if you guys know that. It's Dusty, Gabby, Torky, and Bobby.
Torky, lurky, beef jerky.
It's how I rate almost all of our battles.
Okay.
See? It's a combo.
Pull up the correct stat block. Okie doke. All right.
Give me haste. You got haste?
The first of these shield dwarves that is clad in half-plate armor raises a battle axe and begins to move forward towards the navigation orb. She still hasn't noticed you yet. You can see she has these thick braids of red hair and an intense face that's weathered and lined from years of combat experience. As she moves forward towards the navigation orb, you can see she's now only about 10 feet away from it, and she slows down and readies a strike, aiming at the navigation orb. Dusty, you are on the first floor. It is a 60-foot climb, 80-foot climb to the second, up a rope ladder. You see these 4 figures congeal themselves. What would you like to do? They're operating very
It's
quietly.
80 foot up.
Yep.
They congealed on the second floor?
Do they know that I'm down here?
Yep. They
They move
floated
past.
right past you.
But they can't necessarily see where I am if I'm not sitting within there. I
They're
guess
all
it's pretty
there.
high up there.
They don't seem to care.
Fair enough. I'm going to get on the rope and climb all the way up because with my feline agility
Yep.
and my rogue abilities, I can dash for a bonus action. I will get all the way up. That's 90 feet of movement.
Okay? You guys watch as he runs over, and it's like he's not even using his limbs. He just goes up this rope ladder, grabbing, hustling everything. You think at one point in time he uses his tail to grab and drag himself up to the top. And you emerge at the top of the rope ladder. You still have about 10 foot of movement if you want.
I'm not going to move towards the orb or towards them.
You can see there's these 4 doors, and they've kind of arranged themselves in a diamond pattern, and they're slowly moving towards the orb while trying to not attract Zephyros' attention.
Okay, so I'm kind of backing up from the orb, from wherever that is, versus the center of the room. And just, guys, what's going on? You're from Mirabar? Can we talk about anything?
One of them who seems to be wearing a pretty ornate crest that has a series of 8 stones set into it, turns around and says, "Aye, we were wondering what you were doing here. We've been sent to disable the navigation orb in the Cloud Castle. State your business and your purpose."
This giant is helping us reach lands that we couldn't have reached without his help. We're just trying to get up to Icewind Dale.
You know giants have been going around dropping rocks on people and raiding territories, no?
We do know, but that's a full castle. That's not one spire. We've seen the castle. We've seen them do it, and we know what they're looking for. But we're trying to
Seen 'em do
deliver a
it where?
message. One of the people in our party saw them do it in a town called Nightstone. Little fort, but they took the stone.
Make a persuasion check.
6.
6. One of them chimes up and goes, Idilhar, come on. This is just simple talk. We've got a mission to accomplish by Moradin's beard. Let's crack the navigation order and get out of here. You hear the woman turns around. Says, oh, Huon, give the people the opportunity to talk.
What happens if you just crack that orb?
It's slowly going to descend to the ground.
But it's not gonna just like
It won't be
fall and
operational.
crush anything.
No, it won't crush anything. It'll be under the effect of a levitate spell without the navigation orb being able to direct it where to go.
We're honestly, we're just trying to deliver a message to someone in Icewind Dale.
Why are you coming over Mirabar?
So that we didn't go over,
Wow.
Mirabar.
yeah, Clouth's territory.
Aye, the
Clouth's
Vale.
territory was
The
Mirabar.
Clouth and Vale.
No, Mirabar is dwarves. Clouth has his own thing.
Hang on a second.
Oh, I thought Mirabar was Clouth's territory.
No, that's
Your
where he wants us to
your
go.
small friends down there, the naked ones.
Yeah.
Tell them to come stand by the hole. We're gonna have a little conversation.
Hey, naked nudie boy. They want to be
Have a
able to
little
see you.
conversation. And you can see Zephyros by this time is beginning to stir. And one of them, Idilhar, goes, you stay lying down right there, big fella. Keep your hands where I can see them. We've got a mission Queen Dagnavida sent us to accomplish. You so much as gesture in our direction, I'll crack that thing wide open.
Guys, they just want to talk to us about the giants that have been dropping stones. They're afraid of us. We need to make sure they understand that we're just trying to pass through and we're not causing any harm.
I put my shield in my teeth and start climbing up the roof.
You, stay where you're at.
So instead of letting us
So
letting
now
us
you're
pass
100
through,
I'm like 15 feet up the rope, just holding still.
Hold still.
With my
Let
shield
them
in my
know
teeth.
we're not playing around.
Dude, they're gonna crack the orb and they're not goofing around. I'm not so good with the ocular pat downs, but I think we should be worried.
Let me
to
come
be
talk.
clear, instead of letting us pass through, you'd rather us park in your territory?
If it means preventing an attack on the city of Mirabar, yes. If it means preventing an attack on my hometown, I'll gut every one of you right now.
We're not trying to. Let me come. I hate yelling. Let me just come up there.
Negative.
I'm naked.
Stay.
I don't have a weapon. I'm a healer. I'm a
And I
man
just-
of life.
And I holler, you daft dwarfs, do you see any
Hey!
stones?
Hey!
Do you see any stones? Are we throwing stones?
I'm
I don't
gonna-
see any stones.
I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of healing. Just let me come up there and talk, and I'm gonna cast. I stopped like 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's still about 75 feet up.
It was 80.
So you're letting go of the rope ladder to cast
It's 65.
No, I got one. I got a hand
with your arcane focus, which is on your.
necklace.
Okay.
Here comes the war.
I
65
cast
feet.
healing word.
On
The lady who's talking.
the lady who's talking.
The lady dwarf who's told me to stop.
You cast healing word on.
Yeah.
To prove that he's
Just
a
to
man
kinda
of
like-
life and not death.
She kind of like
She-
feel rejuvenated. I know she's probably not hurt, but she can feel that like I got healing powers. I touch her with the Holy Spirit.
Make a okay.
She just did a line
Okay.
of cocaine.
I'm feeling it. Make a religion check.
No.
Do it.
Or
There's so many clerics not caring.
I'm trying not to make you make it.
Well, because the problem is that religion is an intellect and clerics are based on wisdom, which is like
Right.
fucking
Okay.
stupid.
So since you were foolish enough to have 2 dump stats, let's do charisma checks instead. Let's do persuasion.
Okay, let's do persuasion. I got +1.
Okay.
20.
Nice.
Dirty.
20. Okay. She kind of. Hey,
I just want to come up and talk.
I don't touch our authority. No, you stay where you're at. We're not playing around. We're an elite strike team. What have you done?
Healing word.
Just gonna keep.
Like a
doing
dirty
it.
20, didn't she? She won't let me come up. I just want to come up and talk.
They
not
are
attacking
not
you.
playing around. You can
No
tell
problem.
they are
Murdering.
actively under military orders in order to accomplish something, and you are acting like an insurgent, and they are getting very ready to put you down.
Alright, I climb back down.
The one who had seemed most agitated, Hugh, he turns over and looks at you and says, okay, what we need is a resolution to this situation. We need some sort of demonstration of good faith. Now, he's too dangerous, and he points at Sephiroth. I can't allow him to move. It's just not gonna happen. You, young lady, I need you to come out here where we can see you just a little bit better, if you don't mind. Walking down through the
Gabrielle.
staircase. It's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
Oh, I gotta
Just keep your hands where I can see them. All right. What we're gonna need is some sort of proof of something that we can take back to our commander and show him, and as an explanation of what's going on. I've got giants going crazy. I've had 2 dragon fights over the city in the last month.
You've got assholes scrying over us left and right. Do you
Well-
happen to have a scry ball that you could just bring on
Can
in
I-
and show around?
Can I show you what I've been working on the whole time?
Keep your hands where I can see them, son.
Okay, well there's a deck of flashcards in my pocket, and I've just been trying to learn, and you can tell when you look at them that it's very hard for me to learn this stuff.
He gestures at the one that, at this point, hasn't yet spoken. He says, Voldrick, go over there. Do we have your permission? Just go ahead and check your pockets real quick.
Yeah, it's the front one.
Voldrick reaches over and he sticks his hand in your pocket. Did you find the cards?
Yeah.
Pulls them out.
If you look at those, you can tell I'm kind of dense. It took me a little while. I've been working 9 days to learn what's on those cards.
Voldrick looks at him and goes, these are way above my level. These are pretty complex, pretty complicated,
Alright.
pretty difficult.
I mean, I've been spending 9 days on that and that alone.
You expect me to take this back to my commander and tell him, oh, it's okay, we don't have to worry about the cloud giant. I've got this set of flashcards. Don't worry about the castle
I'm just
floating
trying to
1,000
explain
feet
what
above
I've
the
been
city.
doing this
Look,
whole
here's
time.
some flashcards.
Well, here's the deal.
It took me all morning.
How do you feel about just staying with us until we're past the town? We're not gonna do any damage. Can you stay with us?
No,
Okay,
we need to take our ride back.
but you're right.
Clarion! Clarion, come up here. Make yourself known.
Yep, that way.
And you see this enormous yellow eye peers at you now through the window, surrounded by silver scales and an eyelid that blinks shut.
Tracy, what is it?
That's a ride. Clarion,
What is Clary?
ancient silver dragon.
Oh, interesting.
One of the most righteous and good-hearted defenders of Mirabar has ever been. Sworn by a blood oath by our forefathers, centuries and centuries ago, of common defense, respect, and a mutual love of strapping large things to flying creatures and dropping them on other things.
Well, if that's your love, I can understand, but that sounds a lot like what the giants are doing.
Hey, we're nothing like the
For
giants.
that aside, have you and Clarion look around and there's no stones in here. So we're not.
You
we're not
could
doing
drop
anything-
things other than stones. They've been doing raids. They've been,
And the other one picks up, the female, Dana, interjects. Okay, look, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna search the place. I'm gonna need all y'all to wait on the first floor. Zephyrus is gonna stay in bed. If we find anything that appears to be contraband, we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna smash your navigation on. If everything is okay, then we're going to accompany you to the borders of Mirabar airspace. Am I clear?
The borders of Mir. So so
We're just gonna
there-
follow you out the other side of town. We're gonna make sure you don't turn around. Does everybody understand?
Real quick. So just
What are you guys doing down on the first floor?
Put my armor on?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You put your
call
armor on? What are you
for,
doing?
what's his name, Clarendon?
Clarion.
Clarion. I'm gonna call for Clarion, see if he can like maybe poke his eye through one of the lower windows. I'm gonna pull out that ball of yarn that Fellow Golos gave me, hold it up to him, see if he reacts in any way.
He looks at it, his eye turns and dilates, and he flies up to the second story, and you hear this voice go, "You speak Dwarvish?"
No.
No? Anybody speak Dwarvish? No. You hear this chattering in a language that you don't understand. And all of a sudden, Dana and all of them turn around, they look at you and go, "Dragon vouches for you. He says you're good."
Well, thank you.
And about at that time, you start hearing as the chest under Zephyros's bed begins to pop up and down. Hewin turns around. What's the knocking noise?
Real quick,
Looking at you.
does the, I just wanna, cause we're just along for the ride. Zethros, do you have any contraband that we should be aware of?
Everything in here is very dangerous.
You didn't want to tell us that when we started riding around with you. I've been putting.
I
on
thought it was implied.
I've been putting on my armor this whole time.
Yeah, you're
So, okay, so I just want to make sure that's happening while this.
You're working on it. You're putting your armor on.
Well, I only want 20 rounds.
This
while
does
the battle
not
starts.
build confidence with the dwarves.
I'm sorry. Whatever the knocking is, it's some sort of, how did you describe it, Zephyros?
It is an extra-dimensional aquarium.
Oh.
Sounds like
He
contraband.
says it's not important, but we can't have it, but I'm sure you could probably have it if you wanted.
They cannot have it.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is his pet.
It's usually just hungry when it makes that sound.
That would be because I have not fed it in several days.
You're the worst. You're the worst owner.
Dana, I'm
You just
telling you,
leave
it's
your
just a
griffins
pet.
out to be
It's
destroyed.
just hungry.
Worst Uber.
Let me get. You don't have to do it. You've already succeeded. You're an automatic success.
Yeah.
I need 2 persuasion checks.
Okay.
You guys are starting with 1 automatic success because you used the ball of yarn.
So many sevens.
I got a 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
that's
rid of
right.
It was destiny.
You guys are making this a little hard on me, guys.
Yeah, I know.
And then the doors hit everything.
But it's okay because Torque has his armor on.
You see through the front door, you watch as the dragon descends back down to the first floor. And it is clear that there is a series of straps and lanyards and pulleys. And underneath him, this enormous gondola has been attached to him. And as he comes down, his head comes in. This massive horned figure with these 2 horns that come back, slick silver scales that seem almost mirror shiny catching the moonlight. He sticks his head in the front door, this enormous snout, which takes up the entirety of the doorway. Presses in. Come and talk to me, small gnome.
Yes, sir.
Did you receive that ball of yarn from the one who flies with bad luck?
Is his name Felagolus?
Indeed, you have a good memory.
I
I think that is an admirable trait in a smaller form. It has been my experience that Felagolus finds himself in the middle of very important events, whether he wants to or not. For this reason, I have told the dwarves that you are at least trustworthy enough to fly over the city.
Thank you.
But if you know of anything which I should know about, now would be a good time to inform me.
That's an interesting question. I know some things I'm not sure if they're things you should really know about. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, he's got something weird under his bed. I don't understand what it is. It loves berries, but it just knocks around, and it's doing it right now.
But it fits under the bed.
It fits under the bed. And I'll just describe it to him in detail. Maybe you could let me know what that is. I'm not sure if it's dangerous.
He goes up to the top. Big yellow eye peering in the 2nd story window. You can see that there's this gondola, probably about 40 feet long, swaying up against the tower. The entirety of the dragon's form is massive enough that as the tip of his tail is still at the front door. His eye is up on the second story, 80 or 90 feet away. And he looks, fetch the treasure chest and bring to me the bottle beneath its bed.
So I'll go ahead and do that.
He's talking to the doors?
I'll tell him I'm not strong enough.
The
Oh,
doors,
oh, he's talking to the door.
taking keen from you, the doors go over and Fella go, and at this point Zephyros goes, no, you cannot, little one, Griffin, you cannot let them take it from me. You cannot let them take it.
Starving it.
I don't know if they're asking to take it. They at least need to know what it is, and you're not willing to talk.
It is where I keep a rival of mine. Sometimes I forget to feed him because I forget about him, and sometimes I forget to feed him because he should suffer.
What's his name?
Kalmak. On the other side of the sheet. Kalmak. Kalmak the platypus.
Platypus.
Yes. It was
Where
his
your ducks
nickname
are.
while we were pupils under the same instructor. We called him the platypus.
Okay.
Now, he is a platypus.
As far as anybody will be able to tell, even a dragon, he's a platypus.
He is a platypus.
I don't see any harm coming from a platypus.
It's just your pet platypus, then can't you just?
He is not a pet. He is a deadly rival.
Can you just?
If he was ever reverted to his original form, he could spread violence.
Just say he's a platypus.
Pretty sure
There's
we're just
a-
talking in front of them.
We're talking in front of them.
Yeah,
Do I have my
doesn't
armor on?
matter.
Yes, you now have your own.
Can I climb up to the top?
You can climb up. I'm assuming you're taking him with you.
Yeah,
Okay, so you two are going up to the second story.
yeah.
Okay, the dwarves allow it now that Clarion has vouched for you. You guys are all standing in the
You
second
don't seem
story.
to want to hurt anyone, so I don't see why they would try to unleash him.
You must be very careful with the platypus.
What would it take to turn him back?
Hold on.
Any sufficient amount of damage might revert the polymorph spell and release
Yeah,
it.
it's a true polymorph, isn't it?
It
Look,
was
here's the deal.
significantly above my level.
Speaking of the doors, does this seem like contraband to y'all?
The dwarves look at it. It's extra dimensional pocket space full of water, yes.
Why is that contraband?
Because you're not allowed to have magic items of that condition just wandering around. Somebody could take that,
Are you thinking he
break it over a city, and it could
Okay.
theoretically flood an entire city.
No, I came to that conclusion like before you even started
Awesome.
talking.
Okay, so now you understand why we can't let
No,
them
from a
keep it.
military position, yes, I
Yeah.
completely, totally understand. Yeah, I mean, he keeps it under his bed. I totally get it.
But
Here's-
Gabby could see the edges. It's only like 90 feet.
Doesn't matter. I totally
Down.
get it.
That doesn't mean.
Here's the deal. I'm gonna explain the situation. Look, Zephyros, I ain't trying to turn on you. However, you ain't been completely and totally forthwith on us. You just dropped down out of the sky and said, "Hey, I need to take you where you trying to go." We're like, "All right, let's go somewhere." I didn't think that might have been a kind of crazy decision for us to just hop up on a tower and fly away with you. We're not trying to. Now speaking to the doors, we're not trying to cause any trouble. We were just trying to get north to bring Chandra. We was down in Nightstone. Giants attacked. We saved the city from goblins and orcs, and we found out that the head of the Lord's Order, the sheriff up in Bryn Shander, his sister died in Nightstone. We're just heading up to Bryn Shander to let him know that his sister has passed on. Okay? That's all we're trying to do. This giant came out of nowhere, dropped down and said, "Hey, I'm going to take you wherever you want to go." We decided to come up here. We don't want nothing to do with this contraband, the bomb, all this shit. We're just trying to get up there. If you want to drop us off down there, whatever y'all
You
need to
guys
do.
were just on your way to, deliver soup to your grandmothers, and this crazy giant just happened to pick you up, and you got in his cloud castle and took a ride, and oh, he just happens to have contraband.
Yeah.
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, officer, I didn't know this cloud giant had contraband.
Four.
None of us can persuade them.
All right, look, here's what's happening.
We're taking the contraband. We're leaving. We are going to accompany you to the edge of our airspace, which is about a day's flight away. After that is done, you're free to go. If you decide to come back to Mirabar, please come by land and check in the gates like reasonable, decent people. Zephyros is visibly agitated. His hands go up. You can see his beard has just rolled up. His hair is spiking out at this point in time.
If you
Remember what
If
you
we
just
do-
saw, a floating tower, and ran up into it and didn't question what was going on with it?
If you do
It's
remember,
gone pretty well for
or
us.
if we do return and we go through the gates, is there anything you can let us know to communicate, or any places we should go inside Mirabar? Since
Within
you
Mirabar?
know that we're safe at this point, is there anything?
We
You
actually
can come
do
to the
have-
town council's house.
And we actually do have, I think we have some news for someone in Mirabar. Let me check.
I don't think so.
No. One moment.
You're pulling out a tiny little journal and you're flipping through it. Ma'am, I really don't have time to deliver postcards
Yes,
for you.
Yes.
So,
Um,
Hewin, grab the aquarium. We're gonna.
What do you want to know?
What are you looking for? Because he has a keen mind, he can just ask the DM.
We had Golden Field, we had.
She's gotta know what she's trying to
Golden
ask.
Field, Emerald Enclave.
Okay, then no, we did not have anything from Mirabar.
Okay, cool.
We had Golden Fields for his headbands, the Water Deep was the hero's welcome for the lady Whatsits. Bryn Shander, we needed to talk to the sheriff about his dead sister. And then we had something for we had one or two things for Tribor, we were supposed
The
to talk
brooch
to.
and Tribor.
Yeah, the brooch.
I'm gonna start messaging the rest of my crew. Do we want to hang around with the salty giant? Sold him out just a little bit.
We didn't sell him out, the thing under his bed sold him out.
That's true.
Where,
We did really good thing.
is it
I'm-
Golden,
I'm
Golden
okay
Field
with
is
the
where
deal,
we're gonna
Dana.
go to,
We just gotta wait
turn the
for
cat?
everyone else to figure it out. That was.
It'll
no,
hard,
that
ties
was
a rope
also
around
the same
it.
place as
Golden
the-
Field.
Begins
Cat.
working his way down the rope ladder. Hewin, Voldrick, and Dana stand around the top aperture. You can see that they pull these small vials from their pouches in their plate armor. Take the second of it, put them back, begin climbing down the rope ladders. You can see Clarion, this enormous form, shakes the tower as he flies around, and this gondola that's about 40 feet long smoothly descends in front of the front door.
How many ropes attach the gondola to the dragon?
Easily dozens.
Okay.
Easily dozens.
So this doesn't remind me at all of the large figure with
The
the
shape is similar, but the overall silhouette is not.
They said
You
that.
think whatever you saw would probably have been the similar size, but it wasn't this.
Okay. I do, while they're here, I do ask them about that. So over,
Yeah.
nearer to the,
Dana pauses and turns to, yes, little one,
nearer to where Klaus, where he resides?
don't go there.
Sure. Okay.
What do you want to know about it?
Klaus, sorry. I guess it would have probably, maybe it was, Klaus or one of his other dragons, but I saw a shape
He
similar to
doesn't have
yours.
any other dragons.
It would have probably
He
been
would
him.
kill any other dragon in his territory.
Okay, all right.
He has done that multiple times. No one messes with Cloud.
I do have a question, if it's okay for you to answer. Who around here would have like a green scrying eye?
I don't know anything about magic. Couldn't really tell you. I'm more of a hit things with my axe type.
How did you
Like
land
that.
here? You did like a misty step type thing? Is that a spell that you do, or is that?
Potion of gaseous form.
Yeah, that's what was in their vials.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
interesting.
We've done this infiltration thing once or twice. Potion of gaseous form, get right in the front door. I mean, normally the people don't open the front door up, but in this case it was pretty convenient.
Well, I
Just let it
appreciate
be, man.
your time.
I'm too
and
excited.
Oh no, I'm naked.
All right.
would like
Well,
here-
we're leaving.
Here's
I
a
thought they were
gem
with us for a
for
minute.
your troubles.
We don't need payment, ma'am. You don't tip the police. Thank you.
I'm not paying you, I'm
Especially
saying
when they're
I
robbing you.
want a good favor, a good,
Precious
a sign of appreciation, a sign of, good faith.
Follow the law and
And be respectful, and that's all that we ask for, ma'am.
Okay. Your name's Dana?
Dana, this is Ilhar, Human, and Voldrick.
All right.
And doing.
It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm
Okay,
very,
everybody, just thank you very much. Y'all have a fine evening, folks. We'll be watching you from a distance.
Healing word.
I just wanted.
She kind of cracks her shoulder. Are you flirting with me? Is this what you're trying to get? You got the...
Less.
Isn't that a touch spell?
It says 30 feet.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's a fun fact. Walk up. She looks at you. Give me just a general charisma check real quick.
Dude.
Oh,
2.
no.
She looks at you and she just shakes her head. Southerners. You come up to the north, and every one of you thinks you can just charm the pants off of one.
I
You know
cast
what?
light right over my heart.
You know, we got a term for y'all in the mines where I come from. It's Dumathoin. You know what that means?
Thank you.
It's cornball. That's what you are. You're cornball. She turns around.
Excuse me,
corn.
Dana, just one last thing. Have you ever heard of Countess Sanser?
No, can't say I have.
Okay, as far as I know, she's the one that's running around smashing things and looking for the stones.
Noted and appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah.
They finish loading onto the gondola. You feel this rush of air as the dragon Clarion takes off. And you see he drops down at a distance and kind of falls into a holding pattern, probably about a half mile behind you guys. Zephyros is just sobbing on his bed.
Sorry to take away your battle ball.
Eh,
We seemed ill prepared.
eh. I mean, I basically have heard it. It's my point too.
All right.
I climb up and I just start patting Zethros on the back.
They do not know what kind of pain he can cause.
Well, he's
Who
their
or
problem
what
now.
is Kalamak?
Kalamark was a wizard. I was bound. We took an oath of shared suffering. What? We could not hurt each other, nor could we ask someone else to hurt the other.
And you put him in a bottle.
Grew dark, wicked. It took me years in order to get him trapped in the form of a platypus, which I then put into that aquarium, which I acquired at some great personal expense,
Well, buddy,
until I could find a way to change his heart, to bring back the student that I knew, a bright-eyed boy who just wanted to turn everything into frogs and make hands walk across the floor. Do silly things like turn a bird into a dolphin.
well, you got this guy who wants to learn magic. You can teach him something. What I'm telling you, he's their problem now. Holding on to hate is just like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I feel like you're better off. You should probably just.
You feel this gigantic hand, which is like the size of your entire torso, just kind of wraps around you. Thank you for trying. I think in the morning I'm going to contact the other planes and see if this bodes ill. Frankly, I feel like I've gotten too involved in picking you up.
They told you
I feel
to.
like perhaps I've overstated my bounds and allowed my own personal entanglements to involve themselves in this movement of the fates.
Ah, don't look at it that way.
Perhaps. As the day breaks on the castle, you see the city of Mirabar beneath you. Some of the finest stonework, hewn temples, incredible stacks of every kind of stone plated in gold and platinum. There's sheets of marble that are hundreds of yards long. It all passes beneath you, and you watch it go, the sunlight cresting over from the east. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
We still got half an hour at least. Take me to Bryn Shander.
apologies if you wanted to fight. You
No, I
have
didn't
your
wanna
armor
fight.
on.
I was afraid they were about to jump us. I'm okay with not fighting. I'm a healer. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Except I like to hit things.
I'm
But-
a con and a trickster, but I
Heal
still felt like
strange
it was
women
better.
for no reason.
Red-haired dwarves.
No,
Red-haired dwarves.
no battle, and I still managed to spend 3 spell slots.
Good for you, Cam.
You did.
You healed people that didn't need healing.
That's alright. Touched them with my love.
Didn't even charm him.
Potentially.
None of us could fucking charm out.
I am not ready to fight anything that we are encountering up here.
I feel the same way.
I'd like-
Everything we've encountered up there seems like it would just
I'd
smash.
like to see Zephyros in a fight.
I don't think he would join.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
I'd still like to see.
Even in a situation where he was like invested in it, he wasn't willing to get involved.
I guess he could have just like punched those doors, like, turned them into. Just like
Just
punching these muffins.
just punch him off the side.
Just started punching the muffins.
Making eye contact with her. Just
They
what
did
would
have
do?
dragons, so.
What would they do?
Oh yeah.
That's what was
Yeah.
keeping Zephyros in it. It's
What?
specifically said, first off, specifically in the book, Zephyros is described as eccentric to the point of pacifism. He would rather watch a fight go on and study it than get involved himself. And he almost immediately senses that the dragon is there. He's like, this is a Cold War, where the situation is more tense than
Oh, yeah.
Sure. That's
Word.
way nicer than mine. Thank you.
Was that one of the
It
fights
feels
we were
more
supposed to walk
magical
away
coming out
from?
of Sweet
Guessing it was. No?
No.
-1 charisma, +1
Yeah.
persuasion.
I'm not playing with you. When it's time to run from a fight, you will absolutely know it.
That seemed like it to me, but okay.
I feel like
Kill
we're
the
getting
dwarves
more and
and
more
run.
diplomatic as a
Possible.
group.
It's possible when it happens. You guys decide to hesitate against a fucking unicorn. Slot you.
I was just proud of you guys for hesitating even before you knew there was a dragon there. So.
Well, I was also the only one. Well, I guess Gabby was up there too. But my whole strength comes from hiding, and they knew where I was.
I think the
And I
game
felt
is,
like I was the only one that could get up there and still have an action.
If I rolled a 20, that might have gone differently.
Yeah, I think the game is a little bit deceptive and it could be up to the DM, but it's like, a lot of times once you roll initiative,
People feel like there has to be a fight.
yeah.
Now that's true. Just because you roll initiative doesn't mean it's immediately time to
That's the second time we've gotten out of it. We went up against that beholder and you had us roll initiative, and after a couple rounds we're like, oh, wait! Wait! What? Whoa. You're shooting at your imaginary friend in front of a van filled with 2 tons of nitroglycerin!
Shit. Tell Cameron he's a little bitch. I came. I'm sick as hell.
Well, he probably heard it.
Just now?
Won't be anything coming to
Cameron.
me. Someone else has to do it.
Cameron. Why
Next
weren't you
week,
here?
we pick up with Cabbage, the whimsical druid.
His name is.
His name's Cabbage.
Cabbage the druid. Although
Drow.
I feel like he could have been a bard. Yeah, he's a
What?
drow druid. Which is interesting, because that means he's a druid that has to be like in deep forest, basically.
Yeah, it is a disadvantage if he's ever in sunlight,
Yeah,
or what
'cause-
he's targeting is in sunlight.
He
That's
doesn't
amazing.
know that.
Perfect. That's even better.
He picked Drow because he read the Drizzt books, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Is
how it plays.
Icewind Dale from those books?
Huh?
Yeah, Icewind Dale is in those books. And the Aria Salvatore books.
Okay.
I mean, if it's far
Icewind
enough
Dale,
north,
I mean,
it's
the
like,
game.
it could be like Alaska, half, like 40 days a night, if you're lucky.
He's at
It could
disadvantage.
now.
He's at disadvantage anytime we're in daylight.
It's sunlight, or
Or
what he's targeting
If
is in
what he's
sunlight.
targeting is in sunlight.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
Fashion has some shades.
No way.
Yeah,
Is
drow
that what it
pretty-
is? Just because it's like he's blinded?
No, drow are an underground race of elves.
Oh.
Yeah, they're from Underdark, I think?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that, so when I read that he was a
Tell me
drow,
that.
I was like, that's an interesting
Well, he
choice.
should
I
know
think it would
now.
be amazing.
I've been telling him he needs to actually look shit up.
You can't just say that to someone.
You told me that you did look shit up.
I don't think he actually
I would like to
did.
see how he plays it. I think it'd be funny. Make you guys plan for always going out at night.
I don't see a point in him not
I
doing
can't
it.
fucking see.
But
So
what if
he
we
did
just
take
put, like,
dark vision because I
sunscreen on
told
him
him
and
that
shit?
every time we go somewhere it's dark. I looked at his spells, and every time we go somewhere dark, I'm blind as a bat. He gets on my back and drives me by my ears. So he picked his spells. He has dark vision. So we might just have to go out at night all the time, and he just casts dark vision on me.
Hey, where are those paints and all the figurines?
Yeah.
Fashion the world's first pair of shades.
We should put sunscreen on him. Just constantly load him up. We got herbalist.
It's like that scene from Blade where Deacon Frost is outside.
He's just sizzling. You just spend a half hour every morning just oiling this dude down with suntan lotion, so he doesn't burn to a crisp.
It's his morning ritual.
Yeah.
Just bring.
I don't know
that
what
one back.
D&D SPF you need, but
Blues and grays.
Hold on.
thin your paint.
This is definitely not all the paints.
Learn to paint kid for students.
Yeah, it's what I used. I did all right. But this was the first
I was
Dusty
so
who
happy
I ended up
when I
not
was like,
liking.
oh, Brandon's gonna get clout.
What happened?
There should be more paints. There was a white oblong, like rectangle box. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're the more expensive ones. That's why they matter. And they've got the shade. Makes it possible to give your character depth.
What did he say?
He was excited that you got clout.
Well,
You
let's
notice
see if he bounces.
every shift has had an encounter.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why Dwayne hasn't dealt with any of
Did
them.
you
and he's
expect me
always
to hit
inside.
him?
I didn't know what you were gonna do because Clout is a dick.
I'm not really good with dicks.
Let's see.
Quote of the day.
I mean,
Are we still streaming?
God, yes.
it doesn't hurt to say that.
Let's see if Clout bounces.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Dick just starts
he
swinging in my
said
face. I don't know what to do with it.
about Cloud at one point that he drags giant wands behind him and casts things like lightning. So I figured that's the dragon that you saw with like rods hanging off of strings, because that would make sense for them to be giant wands.
That's an amazing idea.
For those who are watching, there's a fantastic series of articles in the old Dragon magazine that's been archived on the internet called Worms of the North, and it's all of Ed Greenwood's notes on the different dragons that are in this area where this game is being played.
Yeah, we've
And
been
there's about
through.
32 of them.
Jesus
I mean,
Lord.
it's nuts. Ed Greenwood, that crazy ass librarian, I mean, he's got dragons in there that are just plain weird. Disembodied dragons that are trapped in the bottom of a library and exist only as a set of spectral jaws.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. I mean, really kind of like out there stuff. He's a creative cat. But yeah, it's definitely a archive series that's worth reading. It's on the internet for free. So a lot of the old Dragon magazine stuff you can find online for free.
Did Cam watch us?
Yeah, he's been talking on and off. He didn't like when Zephyros suggested we have cabbage and whatever for dinner.
And herring? I
He's
was
like,
just excited about
cabbage,
that herring.
cabbage wouldn't be too happy about that. And I was like, cabbage ain't here.
Cabbage should have been here if you wanted an opinion.
That's the hardest thing for me to do is keep making up foods for Zephyros to have.
And yeah, I've said it multiple times. I carry catnip and roll it up like cigarettes and just smoke it.
Huh.
That's how I got.
Sounds like you'd be frothing the mouth constantly.
That's how I got.
Dude, it's basically weed, man. Like,
That's how I got Lehman to like me.
That's how he keeps his nerves level. If you take his catnip away from him, he gets a little bit, you
Itchy.
know. what was
I'm
it?
not as good at stealth.
Was it Tyrell Biggums? What was the name
Yeah.
of that cracker? Yeah. Isn't that the first time I've had a pierce in my mouth, Joe Rogan?
That bottle lasts me like 2 hours.
Oh. Crackheads.
Uh-oh. You got a phone call. You missed a phone call.
It's grandma, call her back.
Okay.
Why do we hit so
Just
early?
call me twice.
I need to go back and watch those old Chappelle shows.
Hey,
I think because the next step is too big
hello?
to start.
All right,
Could be
this
wrong.
week, 6 o'clock.
Hey, you know you call me? Yeah, hey.
Why is it that